are in Allendale, Michigan, on the campus of Grand Valley State University, a West Michigan district event as the robotics season continues here in Michigan. We welcome you inside. Dan Gutowski along with Dan Kimura. Dan, the robotics competitions continue to get bigger and better from year to year. Give us an overview of what the competition is like this year.
Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting this year because we have two different scoring pieces. Last year it was just picking up balls and shooting them in. We actually are using like little traffic cones and inflated, they're kind of final cubes that you've got to score. So that's an extra challenge for robots this year. They have to find a way to pick up both, orient both, and score them in different places on the field. Yeah,
there's a lot of rule changes and game philosophies that change from year to year. Let's get a sample of what this competition will look like today here at Grand Valley.
The first robotics competition game for 2023 is called Charged Up. Now, a match is going to be 3 robots on blue versus 3 robots in red, and a match is going to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. The first 15 seconds are autonomous mode. In autonomous mode, you'll get 3 points if you can leave the starting area. You get 3, 4, or 6 points if you score a game piece low, middle, or high. And finally, we have this ramp in the middle, or the charge station. If you balance that, it's worth 12 points. If you're on it and it's not balanced, it's worth 8. Only 1 robot can score those points. Then for the next 2 minutes and 15 seconds of the match, teams are going to be running back and forth collecting these cones and cubes and trying to score as many as they can. Now, they're worth 1 less point in teleoperated mode, so 2 on the low, 3 in the middle, 5 on the high. If you can get 3 game pieces in a row, you get 5 bonus points for a link. Then finally, in the end game, once again, we're going back to the ramp. If you can get the ramp balanced, it's worth 10 points. If you're on it and it's not balanced, it's 6. And if you're in that starting zone, you get 2 bonus points for parking.
Yeah, it's a lot to absorb right now, but once we get into the first few matches, things will get a little more easier to understand. Let's go downstairs now and check in with Kaylee Marentate. She is the 3rd member of our broadcast here.
Hey guys, excited to be back here. People definitely excited, lots of energy down here, ready to get started. Coming up throughout the day, we're going to talk to teams on both the blue and red alliances. As well, coming up throughout the show, we talked to some members about what's unique about their robot, as well as we talked to a student who is deaf about how he had to overcome some challenges to get in FIRST Robotics. We're also going to be talking to other students and team members throughout the day. We'll be sure to bring you all the latest information from down here. I'll send it back up to you guys.
All right, Kaylee, thanks. The teams and the machines are ready. We're going to get started here in just a moment. It's the West Michigan District event, Michigan FIRST Robotics. We'll have our first match coming up in just a moment.
At Consumers Energy, we believe change is imagining. Change is big, small, clean. Him, them, us, you. Together, we can bring clean energy to Michigan and protect the environment for generations to come. Learn about your clean energy choices and how you can become a force of change. consumersenergy.com/change.
How do you change the way the world moves? Change course. Aptiv is engineering the brain and the nervous system to bring the future of mobility to life with advanced computing platforms and smart vehicle architecture, taking you from point A to point B and every point in between. We are Aptiv, and we're moving mobility forward.
Hi, I'm Gary Foote. I'm Chief Information Officer at Haas F1 team. I'm responsible for the technology platform that underpins our Formula One racing car. Just like your first teams, there's a huge ecosystem behind Haas Formula One team. Not just my department, which looks after the technology function and the supercomputer that you see behind me. We have mechanics and engineers who travel to the circuit, but also back at base, we have finances, HR, marketing, and all manner of roles that keep our car going forwards. Haas sponsors first because there's a huge synergy between your futures and ours. Have a great season.
First in Michigan Robotics is brought to you by Consumers Energy, Ford Motor, Aptiv, Magna, DTE Foundation, we are here and we are primed and ready for the first match of this district event. We've got the preliminaries, Dan, have already started, earlier this morning and have wrapped up early in the afternoon. We've got 39 teams here. Teams all over the state are competing to try to, continue to score, advance into the upcoming weekends. What are some expectations that you are going to want to see from the teams that are here today?
So the first thing I have to point out is we are already week 4, which means most of the teams here have played at least once. A few of the teams, including our #1 Alliance captain, has played 2 events already. Actually, I think maybe both of the teams on that #1 Alliance have played twice. And there are a few that this is their first event, so we'll see a bit of a mixture there.
So we're going to turn these machines loose. We'll have the automation period, then the teleop. And again, the modifications to these machines. These teams have been working week after week to improve them, and away we go.
Yep, and remember, this is our #1 seeded alliance versus number 8. So big favorites in the Red Alliance. You can see in autonomous mode already, 3357, that's the comments, going out trying to reload game pieces, as well as 27 trying to do the same. So that's something to watch on this Red #1 Alliance, is how many can they score in that autonomous period where everything is pre-programmed.
So again, we have kind of a frenzied activity for the first time segment, and then after that we go into a teleop and things really ramp up.
Yep, and Blue doing a good job keeping it close. Autonomous mode was almost tied. A couple misses with those extra attempts by Red. But now, just especially 3357, this is a robot that the Blue Alliance is probably going to need to find a way to slow down. They're just so fast flying across the field. And they earned that #1 seed by, finishing tops of the list from our qualification matches over the last day and a half.
So that Comets machine, 3357 from Grand Rapids, from the Forest Hill School District.
At 27, that finishes a link on the top, so we can see they just added one more cone there, which gave them another 3 in a row. And I think when 3357 comes to put this one up, that is going to give them another link on the top as well. And we'll see that on the scoreboard, where Red has a pretty big lead. Blue has a bunch of pieces up, so they've got links that they can finish, but they have to finish those links for the 5 bonus points.
So having a grip on the yellow cones and placing it properly isn't 100%. We just saw the Red machine from Team Rush from Clarkston High School with a drop.
We can actually see Blue needs to get some more cubes up. It looks like they have, on the top, they have 2 cones. On that middle, on that near side, they have 2 cones. If they can put a cube in between those, it's going to be worth 5 bonus points, as well as if it's on the top, right, that's 5 points, and if it's the middle, it's 3 points. So that piece they just put up was a 10-point score by 10:25 there.
Under 30 seconds left, so we've got a comfortable lead for the Red Alliance. You can see their robots all collected there with Comets and Team Rush. And now the effort is to get onto that panel.
Yep, so we can see 2 red and 2 blue are balanced. Each balanced robot is going to be worth 10 points here at the end game. We saw Blue briefly going for all 3. It looked like 10:25 didn't get on cleanly and decided to abort at the end there. That would have been a 10-point swing. They did need that. They needed to play aggressive there at the end because they went into endgame down. But it looks like it's going to be a wash in the endgame here.
So it looks like the Red Alliance with a 40-point-ish margin of victory. But again, we have to wait until the judges have compiled the score, see if there's any infractions. And the Red Alliance with the comfortable win. There are more points added on for both the Red Alliance and the Blue Alliance, but the margin of victory doesn't really change a whole lot for that Red Alliance.
Right, so there are live scorers who are going to be inputting cone and cube positions, but that end game scoring where they want to make sure whether it's balanced or not balanced on that charge station, that big ramp in the middle, those points are always going to be added on after the fact. So we'll always see that boost there. I think both Alliance picking up an extra 20 for 2 robots balanced, and then an extra 2 points for a parked robot. So 22 extra points on both sides. And speaking of fouls, right, we do have fouls that you can get. None on the scoreboard here, so clean match, no penalties. But there are 2 different types of penalties that you can get. A 5-point penalty for kind of a normal infraction, and then if it's a tech foul, it'll be 12 points.
Let's take a replay and see how these machines played out against each other.
1025 there, doing a good job of floor loading the cubes. So we talk about being able to pick up off the floor. That's a relatively rare ability this year. A lot of teams won't do that very much, but if you can, it can get you some quick extra scores. 3357, I really like the way their robot kind of, it stretches out, it telescopes out and folds over. Pretty nice. And then we can see the zones kind of on the top of the screen where that red robot is loading, and on the bottom where the blue robot here is scoring a nice cone up high, 5927. Those are both protected zones.
So they're going to reset the playing field. Let's jump downstairs and reconnect with Kaylee Marintek.
Hey guys, we're here with Ben from the Forest Hills Comets. Ben, how are you feeling after that?
I mean, I'm really nervous right now, but I think that was a great match. It was super intense. The 8th Alliance is really just a monster, so it was a really well-paired match, I think. Super intense.
What do you think went right in this match for you guys to pull ahead with a win?
Our practice, especially our team, focuses on reliability and consistency. So basically, it's kind of staying rock solid in those really intense circumstances, and I think kind of keeping that rock solid mentality throughout, no matter what comes at you, that's really important for that win.
Is there anything you want to change heading into the next match?
We had a slight technical difficulty at the beginning, but we used some of our manual overrides to fix it, and we got it working, so it was all good.
All right, well, congratulations on the win, and thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
All right, back up to you guys.
Kaylee, thank you. And again, when you get this deep into the season, Dan, do you get a good sense that most of the teams have a lot of the bugs in their machines worked out, or is the team still kind of trying to learn more about what their machine can and cannot do?
You have a lot of the initial problems worked out, but the problems don't stop. So there's always going to be new things popping up. Starting, I think, again, that was the comments we heard from. This is their 3rd event, if I'm not mistaken, which means their robot has been out there for 24 matches plus elimination round. They played over 30 matches already. And that will take its toll. So now, instead of looking at fleshing out the initial problems with their systems, they're working at upkeep. Like, what is breaking down? What parts do we have to go in and do maintenance on?
And again, the science of how these machines are built, you know, there's just not, you can't control every single element, and you have to be prepared, you know, kind of really mentally for, hey, you know, something's going to break down at some point.
Yep. Yeah.
So you got to have poise. Hopefully that your team leader is going to kind of step in and manage a little bit that way too, right?
And it sounded like they have some stuff pre-planned, right? So they have some automation on their robot to make it easier on the driver. For example, they might hit a button and the arm immediately goes to the position to score that high cone. If that stuff fails, if they lose that sensor, they had planned ahead of time to have manual overrides. So now the driver has more responsibility, but they can keep, performing at a high level.
So this next match 2 with Heart Motor, the Wayland Wildcats, and Team Chaos going against Built on Brains, that one team, our Next Engineers, and Robotarians.
Yep, so this is Alliance 4 versus Alliance 5, so they're right next to each other in the draft. So this is typically the closest first round match that we're going to have.
And away we go. We'll see if somebody can take an advantage here.
Yep, 74 in red has a second cone, but their positioning looks off. Yep, it falls down to the ground. They still get points for that. That's still worth 3 points. 3 points, and it's enough for a pretty big lead here.
The Built on Brains machine struggling a little bit. That's from Zealand. Now seems to have kind of collected itself, but it lost the...
Yep, good. And this is something we want to watch right here. That's 60-90 taking a little bit longer than we want to see, lining that cone up. When you're driving across the field, you have a long distance to move, but it's only a couple seconds of time. So the teams are going to make up time right here where they align it and drop it off, and where they pick it up. So 60-90 with a great cube drop following up that slightly slow cone drop.
Do you have a sense of which of the two elements are easier to handle, the cones or the cubes?
The cube is easier to pick up and sort of hold on to and spit out, but it is a little bouncy, so you got to be careful when you try to get that to sit on the shelf. The cone, if it's in the right orientation, actually is easier than it looks, but if it starts falling and tumbling, it's almost not worth going after it. Just go back to the shelf, the loading station, and get a brand new one.
We have a field that's a lot more wide open in the middle, and I don't know if that makes it harder for teams to defend because it's easier to get into those loading zones.
Yep. Yeah, and if so, the protected areas where they're loading up, they're protected. So if a red robot, like for example we just saw 60-90 going in, or where 74 is here in the scoring zone, they're protected in those zones. So if a blue robot were to come in that zone and make contact with the red robot, that would be a penalty. So you can only defend kind of in between those areas, and that's a little tricky.
Yeah. I can see too, we can see the Red Alliance and the 60-90 machine, the Wayland Wildcats, kind of struggling with those cones. They're very hard to necessarily place right onto those poles.
Yeah, you got to get it just perfectly lined up. So we can see here, red kept up in terms of kind of scoring, but they fell behind in terms of those links. So we got to talk a little bit more about what a link is and how it works. But blue also coming through with the 3 balanced robots at the end. That's 30 points for them. That's probably going to extend their lead. We do have a match under review note on the scoreboard here in the arena, and that means the referees are going to be discussing something they saw to determine if there is a penalty that needs to be applied or any sort of retroactive action that needs to be taken.
Yeah, looking at these charge stations down there, Dan, there is not a lot of extra room for those machines to get up and place themselves properly. So we've got a Blue Alliance victory here, and they put a very, very good point number up there as we kind of tally up the points. And
yeah, that's a huge score.
Get some finality to this match.
And I think that was, can't remember the first one, what our number 1 alliance scored, but I think this one is higher.
Yeah, 133 was the last one.
Yep, so that's, a message to the other alliances here that this number 5 alliance is nothing to scoff at.
Wow, both of them over 100. Red Alliance, anytime you're over 100, that's pretty good, but 143 is a big, hard number to catch.
Yeah, good scores this time are going to be probably, 140 is if you're above 140, you got a good chance of winning the match. 130 is a good score here, a very strong score. Over 100 means you are definitely, competing.
Let's go down to Kaylee with a member of the winning Blue Alliance.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm here with Carter. He's from Team Bob. How are you feeling after that? That's a big number.
I'm feeling really good. Oh my goodness, it's 143. I didn't see that until now. Quite honestly, I'm feeling amazing. It's March Madness season. It's upset season right now. We're doing it here.
You're giving the upsets, huh?
Absolutely. Next up, we got Purdue, I think.
Well, you guys had 15 points coming out of autonomous mode and obviously made a big gain after that. How are you feeling after that?
Honestly, I don't think about autonomous mode. It is just going to throw off my game if I think about it, especially if something goes wrong during auto like it did today. If I think about that, the game is gone.
You guys also got all 3 bots on the charging station. What do you think led up to making that happen and getting that?
So I think part of it was during alliance selection. They were thinking about what bots could go off the edge, and Robotarians in 85 could do it. So we went over to the practice field and we practiced that over and over and over. So we knew we could do it during a match.
Obviously the practice played off.
Absolutely.
All right, well, congratulations on the win. Thanks, Carter. All right, Dan and Dan, back up to you guys.
All right, he just took a shot at Purdue basketball, I believe. Nice job, Carter.
Yep.
Yeah, he did. There is, the emotions runneth over from sport to sport, but thank you, Carter and Kaylee, for that. So,
I don't know what Purdue did to be catching strays here, but.
C'est la vie.
Yep, nice autonomous move by 85. You can see just barely kind of keeping under control there. So they will get some points for being fully supported on the ramp. Again, in auto mode, when you do that, it's worth 8 points. Same thing on red. You need one robot that gets up on that ramp here. And another shot of 60-90. This is, I think, the one where we wanted them to be a little bit faster. Like, that looks lined up. You want them to drop it. Definitely should have dropped it by now. Like, please score and move on. That was a few seconds wasted. Obviously, you know, they have to find moments like that where they can just shave a few seconds here and there to catch up. Conversely, here on the blue side, a little bit faster, right? Once it was over, they were able to drop and get going.
And do you see in the left screen there,
Yep.
Does that cone, when it hangs like that, is that going to be points, or is that like partial?
It's still points as long as it stays supported. It could get knocked off a little easier, but really, cones like that have stayed on pretty reliably, so you can trust that. As we just saw, another drop on there. You can kind of see anytime you can get 3 game pieces in a row, that's what we're looking at. The third game piece in a row is going to complete that link, as we saw them going for their 3 robots on there.
All right, let's preview our next match as we come up with match 3 in round 1. So the NC Gears, Mechanical Mustangs, and Code Red Robotics. And you know, geographically, Dan, we're on the west side of Michigan in the Grand Rapids area, but we're still getting teams from the east side of the state that are coming over. Is there a good reason why teams are willing to kind of go this far to test their robots?
I think every team has a different strategy for picking events. A team like, well, Martians and More Martians, first of all, this is 2 teams from the same school. We're about to watch 2 of the same robot together here. But they're a veteran team, they're established, so sometimes they travel just to see other teams and kind of get, you know, good different competition experiences. So watch both of these red robots. They're both capable of grabbing a second game piece. Looks like 494 is going to be doing the balancing here. And that will count as balanced. You have a couple seconds after auto ends. And again, when the lights light up on that ramp or that charge station, that lets you know it is balanced.
And away we go. Red off to a good start, but the Blue Alliance certainly not stepping off the gas at all.
Yep, that 1918 robot is really clever. They've got that little conveyor that reaches out and dumps on. You can see them dropping a cone nicely. But both of the Martians and More Martian teams coming back with a couple cones of their own. You can see 6877 is kind of trying to camp that area. They're looking to see if they can play some effective defense. Oh, and a big hit there.
You could hear that.
Yep. We have to be careful. I don't know if that got flagged. I think it got flagged. 5567, again, cannot go. You can see the red taped areas. That includes the ramp. So you cannot go in those areas while defending, and I think they got over the line. That's going to be a penalty.
Surprised there's no structural damage to either robot, but that's to the credit of the builders.
They are durable, and we do have those bumpers where most of the contact should be taken. Those are actually, so the red and blue bumpers that you see, there are pool noodles behind that, so foam pool noodles to try to absorb some of those hits.
And you know, the 6877 Mechanical Mustangs robot has that basket. That's not the norm, is it?
It is unusual in this match. We've definitely seen them using that to score game pieces, so they can drop a cube or cone into that and either dump the cubes onto the shelf or drop the cones down on the floor in front of them. But it does look like they are taking a defensive role here, but I think they drew another penalty for that protected zone violation.
Red Alliance up big, 40-plus points as we come down to 30 seconds left in this third match. And another successful cube drop for the More Martians, Red Alliance.
Yeah, and Red knows they're ahead, so despite the fact, like 494 has a cone in their gripper, they're not going to try to score that. They're just going to get the balance here. Hanging off the edge of the ramp, but it counts. That is balanced. Blue's got to get, I think they've got 2 robots stuck on the sides, and we're going to see if they can get all 3. They've still got 7 seconds left,
so
but they've got to balance it. Very nicely done.
Yeah, nice comeback by the Blue Alliance, but I don't think that's going to be enough to make a difference.
It will not be enough. So if you have all 3 on the ramp versus 2 on the ramp and 1 parked, which is what we're seeing here, it's going to be 30 points for Blue, 22 points for Red. So an 8-point swing is nice, but you know they were down by over 40. But definitely a great job driving by 6377 there at the very end, or sorry, 6877 at the end, knowing exactly how much time they had left.
And the balancing early.
Yep. So a little bit of a driver mistake there by 494, kind of sliding sideways to make room. they did kind of start going off the edge. It's okay. And here's 68-77. And this is like 5, 4, 3, 2, right? I think they hit that with 2 seconds left. But so excellent, excellent composure from that driver to make that happen.
So we do have a Red Alliance win of almost 50 points as they tally up everything. And we do have some penalty points on the Red Alliance. And we're thinking that was from that collision, right?
The one
else?
collision midfield was actually a clean hit, bumper to bumper from both robots. But we have 15 penalty points here for Red. That means Blue committed 3 regular fouls, 5 points apiece. And I think all of them that I saw were if you cross over into any of those protected zones, the zones marked by red or blue tape, if it's red tape, a blue robot cannot go in there and make contact with a robot. And I think I saw that happen twice. Looks like it probably happened a 3rd time that I missed.
All those grid points paying off for the Red Alliance. Back downstairs to Kaylee.
Hey guys, we have Frank from 494 on the Red Alliance. Frank, obviously you guys had a lot of points here. What do you think led to that success?
I would say just our teamwork was really the biggest factor. Focusing on staying out of each other's way was one of our main priorities, because we've had a lot of problems with that kind of in the past.
Have those priorities changed after this match?
Actually, our alliance did a wonderful job. They stayed out of my way. Everyone kind of did exactly what we planned to do, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Is there anything you would change that you're going to take into the next match, or is this working for you?
I like what we have right now, but we may tweak some stuff just depending on what we think will work better.
All right, thanks. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
All right, Dan and Dan.
Haley, thank you. Yeah, there's, we see early in these events that sometimes the scores are a little more, sometimes they can be a lot lower. We're seeing a lot more points that have already come into play in these first few matches.
Yep, this was auto mode here. A couple misses by Blue. Not kind of helping their cause out. But 55-67 does do a good job of getting back and balancing that ramp. Again, that was all autonomous. That was pre-programmed. 494 doing the same thing on the other side. And you can see 70 grabbing that extra cone. So they have a head start kind of in Teliot mode. And this robot, 1918's robot, it's great. Oh, big hit there. But you can see they're actually able to, that cone is facing the wrong way. They can actually run that cone back and then flip it over. So they inside the robot, they can reorient the position of the cone so they can go out right here like this and have it drop down onto the peg there.
Yeah, the imagination and the creativity is on display really, from event to event, from match to match, as to how these machines are all put together.
Yeah, and this is endgame for Red. Again, 494, that a little bit of a quick move there, kind of catching on the side. But they stuck, and that's what matters.
So we'll get a little bit deeper with as we move to match 6. We show you who we've got for match 6.
Yep.
Paw, Holland Christian, and Lowell Senior.
Yep, our 6th seed, and again, sort of constructed like the 5 Alliance seed. So there is a chance that this number 6 seed is going to play 3 robots on offense like we saw our number 5 do it.
And then we have the Hopkins Tech Vikes, Allendale Trisonics, and Calvin Christian, middle school and high school.
Yep, and both the Tech Vikes and 4003 Allendale have been around for a long time, won a lot of tournaments in their day, so keeping an eye on both of those robots. They both have had, some off and on issues this tournament. If they both hit, if they're both in their best form, they're going to be very, very scary here.
And here we go with the autonomous period. Again, this is short, just 15 seconds. Do most teams have the same strategy in autonomous, do you think?
Yeah,
Dan?
we're going to see one robot kind of go over the charge bridge, come back to try to get that balance. We're going to see the outside robots try to score and then get in position, either grab another game piece or get in position to grab it as soon as teleoperated mode starts.
Oh, and right out of the gate, the Squires Robotics machine from Calvin Christian with a lot of speed and willing to make contact and trying to gobble up some cones.
Yep, so we did see a penalty on red, so that's going to give 5 points to the Blue Alliance. I don't know what it was for, but I saw the ref waving the flag. A little bit of a miss there by 107 on the far side of the field. Oh, and that was up on two wheels there. 107 doing a good job of getting into the red zone there and out with a game piece without getting hit. If they had made contact with anybody in that zone, it would have been a penalty. But if you can get it in and out before they get back, it is allowed.
Now, we don't see many machines tip over, but it can happen.
And this year, it's more common. A few things are happening this year. One is, you'll notice this, a lot of these robots can move sideways. Look at 107 there, sliding sideways. 4003, they have what we call a swerve drive, which they can steer the wheels in any direction, but to fit 3 robots on that ramp, they also made the robots narrower. So now you have a narrow wheelbase in the direction you're moving. That leads to tippier robots.
Yeah, less stability, right.
Yeah, as well as having to reach up high to be able to score these game pieces.
And like just watching the Trisonics robot, that's a very fast moving robot, and you have an open playing field, so more speed.
And if you get a big hit there when you're off center, unstable, it can be a problem. The Blue Alliance interesting strategy here is they went on the floor, so they're scoring on the lowest positions. Those are going to be worth less points. They're only worth 2 points when you put a game piece there, but the links are still worth 5. And so I think they're going to have completed 3 links on the bottom here in just a second. So you get 15 bonus points for that, which is helping kind of keep them in the match. But Red doing a great job of getting those links up high. And that's where Blue needs to, I mean, they need to get that high road done. But we'll see if they can get 3 here.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can see that's the Red Alliance that's not focusing so much on getting out of that charge station, but...
Uh-oh. And we had 2054 fell off the side of the ramp. They're not going to have time to get back on. So we have 3 blue balances for 30 points, only 1 red balance for 10, 2 parked red robots for another 4 points. So we're looking at like a 16-point swing here. That's going to make it pretty close. I think red was up by, 30, a little over 30 points. So it's probably still enough for red to win, but it's going to narrow down quite a bit.
Yeah, not as lopsided as it looks, but again, that's why we have to take a couple of minutes just to kind of get our breath, let the judges tally up the scoring and make sure there's no penalties to assess. But again, boy, we've seen a lot, we've talked in years past, you get into the hundreds, 110, 120, you're doing very good things with your machine.
Yeah, it looks like the winning score, this is going to be the lowest winning score of the first round of matches here if it sticks at 120. Plus I said 14, so 136, they're going to be right up there with everybody else. So we'll see. That's the kind of mistake, though, from 2054 that we don't want to see. Their robot, when it's on and when they're executing correctly, is as good as any robot here. But little mistakes like kind of falling off the side of the bridge that cost them 8 points in the end game. They're going to get away with it in this match, I think. But if they play, who do they play next? They play against that number 2 alliance. We just saw both of the Martian robots there. I don't know if you can make that mistake against that alliance and still come out on top.
Yeah, the margin of error continues to, shrink as you move deeper and deeper through the matches here. And we're going to tally everything up, and we are going to have a Red Alliance win. How close was it? Closer than we thought. 136 for the Red Alliance, 117 for the Blue Alliance.
Yeah, which is just, it's interesting, right? So our winning scores, it was 135 in the first match, then the 143, that big score, then 137, 136. So 135, 136, 137. We've got a lot of equally matched alliances here.
So here we go, looking back at the autonomous period. And that's the 86-12 machine.
Yeah. So they clear the zone. You got to get all the way across the red tape. That scores you 3 points. Now they're going back on that ramp. If they balance the ramp there, it is worth 12. So 15 points in auto mode there for 86-12. And I think they also dropped the game piece off. And Blue, again, we saw roughly the same thing from the Blue Alliance. 107 here, kind of taking some opportunistic defense, kind of slow down the Red Alliance robots a little bit. Again, hitting 2054, kind of coming across the field there. And this is where we can see it. Look at that. So that is now 3 in a row. We had cone, cube, cube from the right to left there. So that is a 5-point bonus link. And they just kept doing that. 107 just kept dropping stuff off on that bottom row. Meanwhile, though, the problem is 2054 and 4003 were doing the same thing at roughly the same speed on the top row.
It's a little defense from the Blue Alliance there, trying to squeeze that red machine, but in the end, it was just a lot of red and not enough blue.
Yep, another dropped off low. We can see, look at that. Look at the floor behind these two robots as they go up in balance, right? Completely full. And this is good. This is where we're talking about those narrow robots. Look how narrow 107 is there to make room for everybody else to fit.
When you're going on the charge station, it's got to be balanced with all three going at once.
Yep.
Is that the strategy?
It has to be balanced at the end. So what teams like to do is sort of get everybody there and maybe one robot or two robots creep forward. If you have everybody kind of trying to make the adjustments at the same time, it's a problem.
Let's go down and get Kaylee Marentet involved. Kaylee, how are you?
Hey, I'm here with Noah from 2054. Obviously some good news here. Are you happy with that win?
Yes, I am, very much.
What do you think is the biggest obstacle that you guys had to overcome to get that win?
Our biggest obstacle is really just fighting the Trisonics getting pinned up and trying to get all three robots to fit up there. Obviously it didn't work, but I think we'll come back and fix that in the end.
How do you think you are going to fix that?
I think what we're going to do is we're going to have us hang instead. We were trying to push the scores, but I don't think we need the extra good points. I think we can have us hang, and then the other two can safely go up on their own.
Also, I have to ask you about these buttons. Where did you get all these buttons at?
I have been collecting these for 2 years. Last year I was our drive coach, so I have different sets of interchange. Like last year I had our states carried with us to Worlds. These ones are mostly from this year and a few from last year. These ones are from our foreign exchange student, Jane.
We interviewed Jane last year.
Yes, you did. She gave me those buttons, and then we got other ones just from, we worked with Calvin at Calvin, obviously, and then we worked with 1918, so I like their buttons. I got all different ones. I like Kirby, too, so I got Kirby up there.
Very cool. We love that. All right, thank you. Congrats on the win. We're going to send it back to you guys.
You know, she's always looking for new headgear to wear. I think that would be a very lovely compliment to Kaylee. All right, let's get back to Kaylee. She's got some information about the other atmosphere here at Grand Valley State.
We're here at Grand Valley State University. I'm joined by Paul Plotkowski. He is with GVSU. Paul, thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, I know you were here last year.
Yeah.
Tell me about how excited you are for this to get kicking off again.
Well, this event is a highlight of the year. I mean, let's face it. We have 40 incredible teams out here. The competition is amazing. Earlier round, they set a record for the season.
Really?
So, yes.
Yeah.
So it's a hot day.
Yes. So tell me what you do with the university here.
So I'm the dean of the Padnos College of Engineering and Computing. Mm-hmm. So that means everything from doing K-12 and community engagement up through graduate school in engineering disciplines, computing disciplines, occupational safety and health. I'm kind of the head techie nerd.
So robotics and the university, your college, go hand in hand.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me about, do you recruit students to come to GVSU from events like this?
Oh, absolutely. And if we could get them to stand up, the mentors, the judges, this room is full of Grand Valley alums, many of whom came to us from FIRST Robotics. The Padnos College of Engineering and Computing was created 1990 in partnership with the community and our industrial partners. Mm-hmm. And a big part of that partnership and community engagement since the 90s has been FIRST Robotics.
Can you tell, a difference between students who have grown up and have come through robotics versus students who may not have had that background? Or what, do you think they have a leg up?
Oh, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, I've got a great example for you. We are very fortunate. This is a very generous area. I get to give a lot of scholarships each year, including
love that.
Including 2 FIRST scholarships. Mm-hmm. So right now there are about 10 students at the university on FIRST scholarships. Mm-hmm. Most students that come in, even those receiving scholarships, by the end of their second year, about only half of them are still in engineering. They figured out this is for me or this isn't for me, the elements that they like. FIRST Robotics scholars, everyone has graduated in engineering.
Wow.
This lets them know what the field is about. They know what they're getting into. They understand not just the tech stuff, the hands-on stuff, the teamwork elements, and just the hard work element. So, yes, our success rate with students coming out of FIRST is literally perfect.
That is nice, too, before they go through, college prereqs. They know what they want to do. They're sure, so they're not going through all of this, and then they switch their major all of a sudden, you know. What advice would you give for students that are maybe looking for those scholarships or are interested in getting into the college?
Okay, so the first one, work with your counselor, good college prep program. Things like FIRST, obviously that's who's listening, gives them a big step up. There are a lot of scholarships that go unclaimed every year. Students, you have to go and look. The FIRST website lists all of the universities and corporate-sponsored scholarships. It takes you to them. So you can click on the Grand Valley link there and you'll end up at our scholarship page, that sort of thing. Take advantage of those opportunities and get engaged.
Yep.
And visit the schools you're thinking about. Find the one that fits for you.
You'll
that
feel
feels
it.
right.
Yes, yes. You'll get that feeling, that
Exactly.
gut feeling. All right, well, hopefully some students get that gut feeling here.
We're trying.
Yeah.
We're doing our best. We can't make it a whole lot louder.
No, I don't think so. All right, Paul, thank you so much for joining us, and I appreciate your time.
Glad to be here.
We're going to wrap it up and send it back to you guys.
Kaylee, thank you. Always good to hear from the support group, and it is long and deep and all kinds of people involved here to make this operation successful. Let's go back to the bracket stand here and see what's coming up.
Yep, so small upset, only 5 beat 4, pretty close there, but otherwise our 3 higher seeds moved on. Something to note this year, we are playing double elimination. Last year we played single elimination, best 2 out of 3. This year it's 1 match, but it is double elimination. So we can see Alliance 8, 4, 7, and 6 are now in the lower bracket. If any of those alliances lose again, they are eliminated from the tournament. Meanwhile, on the top, the upper bracket, we're gonna have 1 versus 5 and 2 versus 3. Again, they can lose that match, drop down to the lower bracket, and still have another chance.
So with all the teams that are left, do you have any general impressions of what you've seen today, previous weeks? Any themes that are starting to kind of come together as we get deeper and deeper into this?
I mean, our number 5 alliance is sort of the outlier here. They played 3 robots on offense and put up the biggest score thus far with that 143. We'll see, though, because both alliances, number 1 and number 2, actually 1, 2, and 3 all left points on the table. They all played a little bit worse than I think they're capable of, so all 3 of those alliances can reach another gear and increase their scores as well. But a couple things to watch is that autonomous. Definitely Alliance 1 has the opportunity of adding extra points there. They didn't hit that many. I don't think they hit any in their first match. Those are worth extra points, but it's also one more piece that's already scored for you before you get to Teleop. So, you know, you get the points for it early, you're gonna get the links faster, you're gonna play from ahead. So that's something to watch out of them.
We will keep tabs on that for sure as they reset the field and stage everything appropriately. Here's what's coming up in round 2, match 5. We've got the Holland Team Chaos, the Wayland Wildcats, and Hart Motor Machines ready to engage.
Yep, that was our number 4 alliance. They lost one with 113 to 143 against the 5 seed. So 113 still a pretty good score. And the alliance they're playing against is the 8 seed, who put up 109 points in a match. So very, very evenly matched here, very close numbers.
Is it normal that we get, I mean, do you expect teams to be getting over 100 points, these winning teams, consistently every time now?
Yeah, the game's a little bit different from last year. Last year, 100 was really a threshold where, you know, you really were putting up a good score and you had a great shot at winning the match. This year, that number's a little bit higher, just the way the game is scored, the way that, you know, the values worked out. So again, we saw in the first round, above 130 was really competitive scores for the top alliances here. Our losers were all down from that, closer to 110 in that first match, 110, 120.
Yeah, I was going to say, it just seems like there's, you know, more point totals for the winners.
Yep.
And that's consistent from match to match. So.
Yeah, and it just varies. We had some games in the past where, you know, even 130 would be a low score, or 130 would be impossible. You know, we had some matches, one year I think, like, you know, 30 was about the most you could score. So we have to kind of recalibrate every year for where those thresholds are. And then again, it's week 4. So week 1, 100 points was actually, you know, that bar. It's just that teams have gotten better and better and better, and now we're pushing it up higher and higher as we go.
Some teams come out really solid right away. Other teams are going to take a little longer to figure out what's working, what's not working.
Yeah, for sure. And my team was notorious when I was there for being kind of slow starters. Tried to have just enough for the first event to have a chance to win the first event, but our robot would be very, very transformed by the end of the season when we got to kind of the World Championship.
And, you know, sometimes, you know, kids get a little impatient. They don't understand that, hey, sometimes an obstacle presents itself. A solution may not be right at your fingertips.
Yep. Well, it's a puzzle, right? You have limited time. You have to optimize which pieces are going to work first or what you get done, you know, and work on first. So.
And away we go into our autonomous period. The 141 machine, the Wobots from Holland, Michigan, from West Ottawa High School. Jump on the charging station. Ditto for the Wayland Wildcats.
So 74 did get a second cone, but where it is currently sitting will not count for any points, so that didn't help them out. But 141 did not score their cone in auto mode, and we can see blue comes out with a bit of a lead.
And the blue robot, 6128. That's the motor, more than our robot from Hart High School. Gobbling up cubes, now throwing a cone on.
We can see a little bit of trouble for 1025 getting across the ramp there. That did slow them down a little bit. Teams will prefer to go around the ramp if they can, but if their teammates are in place scoring, you don't want to bump your teammate. So you can see it was open for them on the way back, and maybe playing a little bit of defense as they go to reload here.
So just out of curiosity, Dan, Team Chaos, do you want to go back and forth across your charging station during this teleop period?
The only reason to do that is to stay out of your partner's way,
okay,
or to get around defense. And 74, right, is a robot that has shown they don't care. They can get over that charge station quite quickly. Ooh, big hit, and they threw the cone across the field. The question is, do they realize it? They didn't realize it for a while. Saw how long it took for them to turn back around.
So that's the Team Chaos robot from Holland that's going to go back and head into that loading zone and get another cone.
Yep, it is a game, and there we saw it, 1025. Because they were sandwiched by their partners, they thought, let's go over the ramp to not get in their way, but they didn't get the arm tucked in time, and so their CG, their center of gravity, was too far out, and they've tipped over, but
resurrected.
They can get back up.
Impressive.
Now, that is lost time, though. They were on their back for, 7-8 seconds, and they are playing from behind now. So they're going to need to score this cube quickly and maybe think about making another run here.
They lose time, but they look great in style points.
Yes.
No style points, sadly. But
the cheer for that might be louder than the cheer for the winner of the match, but no points for it.
That's all right. But they get the balance on the charging station. The Red Alliance.
Triple for red.
This might be enough to bring them all the way back. We'll see Blue Alliance with 2 robots on the charging station.
So
this could be very close.
Yep, we'll see about an 8-point swing. Red is going to need something else to go their way. A penalty, maybe something else that wasn't scored that gets added in kind of after the fact here. And once again, we can see that top section on the blue side was very full. The top section on the red side had a bunch of holes in it. And you need to be scoring the game pieces. You want to score in a continuous chain. Because, again, if you put 3 in a row, you get 5 bonus points. If you put 3 more next to that, you get 5 more bonus points. But if you have 2 here and then a space and 2 here and a space and 1 there, you get no bonus points because you have no 3 in a row.
Here's the fall back. And the 1025 machine, well, that's not the fall off, but.
No, but smooth triple balance there. You can see, again, narrow robot, 5927, very narrow, leaving room.
And the 74 robot from Team Chaos, not able, well, no.
I think there was a plan there for 74 to hang off the side a little bit to leave room for 6090. They went a little too far, drove off the side, 6090 went up, they looked to go in the middle, and there just wasn't space for them. And it was the right choice to back off, let their partners balance, because if it's unbalanced, you're just giving up more points.
Well, we told you this would be close. We were right, 126 to 116. The Blue Alliance is your winner.
Yep, and that is an elimination match. So Alliance number 8 played well, but will be leaving the tournament now.
So, wow, not much disparity there. Let's go downstairs and check in with Kaylee.
Hey guys, I'm here with Devin from 1025. I want to talk about, we all saw that robot, get knocked down, but everyone went crazy when it got back up. Tell me how you guys managed to do that.
So first, everybody was in our way, and it was kind of scary. We were like, oh my God, we're over. But then we were like, get out of our way. We can move the arm around and see if it will lift us up. And we lifted it back, it hit the ground, and it just propelled us off the ground, and we were fine. And we were shocked ourselves, so.
Is this not something that you kind of prepared for, or?
Honestly, last time we got knocked down at our last competition, we couldn't get back up, but this time it worked out, so.
What was going through your mind as it did get knocked down?
I was like, really, in this round of all places, like, why did this have to happen? And then I was like, you know what, we just got to move on from here, and we did the best thing we could.
All right, well, thank you, Devin, I appreciate it. All right, Dan and Dan, back up to you guys.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. Yes. Well, that explains their predicament, and they were prepared for it and managed it well this time.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll know, like, theoretically, our robot should be able to use the arm to tip it back up, but it's something that you don't test immediately, because if you try it and it's a little bit too weak, you might end up damaging your robot. So you're not going to try that before you get to an event unless you know you have a lot of time. But when you go over in the middle of a match, you try everything you can.
Yeah, risk reward. Damaging your machine is about the last thing you want to do.
Yeah, but they knew it was an elimination match. Nothing to lose. So good autonomous mode here from blue and red. 74 coming back. If they can hit this second drop here, that's going to pay off for them, but they missed it. Good start there for red. I think here's where we see it, right? So they're in the middle here, looking to score. Oh, no, this isn't it.
Are these teams
around this out?
Are these teams expecting, Dan, that they're going to be able to fill up all those grid spaces?
I think our top alliances are expecting the entire top row to be full, and here they go over, and most of the middle row. I think our best alliances will fill the top 2 rows.
Okay.
So you can see they were just kind of sandwiching by their partners, tried to go over the ramp, went a little too fast with that arm out. You got to get that arm tucked in.
Well, there's a little bit of a spend on wardrobe for that Red Alliance.
Yes. They're making it work.
Yeah. And here's the Red Alliance, Sup Fremont, Northport Christian, and Milan. And into autonomous period we go.
Yeah, so this is Alliance 6 versus Alliance 7. Again, we are in the lower bracket here, so the loser of this match will be eliminated. Score does not seem right. There it goes. All right, it's updated now. It's like Red Alliance's score was very low, but it just ticked up to where we expected, because Auto was close. We'll see now if there's a change in strategy here. 107 doing a nice job kind of collecting off the floor in the background there.
So there's a few loose cones at center.
Yeah, and 54-62 again. A lot of robots aren't going to spend too much time worrying about those cones on the ground. If you go all the way back to your loading station, you can kind of control the orientation of the cone, and that helps out a lot. But both 107 and 54-62 able to kind of get those extra cones and score them. So we do see a change in strategy here, as 107 in the last match was just shoving them in low to get kind of the link points. Now they're going high. Meanwhile, 32-34 is putting them low. And so they might have switched over from defense to offense here.
Two-paw Robotics for the Blue Alliance is going to try and grab a cue, but struggling just a little bit there. Now it's got it.
And we can also see 68-77. We talked about that robot playing defense, picking up some penalties. What they're actually doing now is they're playing the role of feeder bot. They're grabbing stuff from this human player station, driving across the field and dropping it on the ground. I think the intent is then going to be for either 55-67 or 19-18 to make use of those. So we can see there's a pile of stuff right here. on the other side of the field. Here we see 6887 or 6877 getting another cube, and over here we're going to see a pile of cones that they've already brought over. And so hopefully those cones get used. We want to see either a teammate go for them. Looks like there's not going to be time.
The NC Gears is trying to balance on the charge station. And let's see if that last Red Alliance robot, Mechanical Mustangs, can jump in. Looks like all 6
once again
are going to balance perfectly. Yep. This is going to be very close.
Yep, so Red Alliance probably needed to try to get an extra score or two. We see a cube in 5567's gripper as they're balanced there. I think they needed to score that before they went up. They were down 10, 14 points before the end game, so they needed to go a little bit later, especially after the last match, where we saw 6877 just like right at the end, very, very fast, get the balance done.
So we'll tally things up, but boy, we're seeing these robots and these machines, Dan, perform at a pretty high level.
Yeah, for sure. Right, and remember, this is the lower bracket, so these teams all lost their first round match, and they're still doing this. So double, triple balance here. 6877 has got that figured out. They are so fast at doing that balance.
Dan, as we have the, again, we've talked about the addition of more robotics teams into the competitions every year. I think we're up to like 20 and 30 more teams this year from last year. Do you notice that the younger teams are better now than the younger teams were when they were coming in?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's do the scoreboard first. Blue Alliance wins, but the loser comes in with over 100. That's pretty good.
Yeah, a pretty solid match from Red. Again, they just had to play a little bit more risky once they saw they were down on the scoreboard. But, a good showing there. Auto mode, very close. It's just the grid. They just need to score a few more points on the grid there. Just knowing kind of that both alliances had that double, triple, or they both could do the triple balance there at the end.
So things pretty equal. Let's jump back downstairs and go to Kaylee.
Hey guys, I'm here with James from 107. Obviously good news for the Blue Alliance. How are you feeling after that win?
We're feeling great. We did a lot of strategic adjustments between our last 2 matches, and it seemed to pay off. We had some robot issues with our arm going at the wrong spot. We're able to fix those, and we're scoring a lot better, which is good. We're able to readjust now as we face the loser of the 1v5 match here coming up next. We're excited for that, and excited to hopefully keep rolling here through the lower bracket.
Obviously, besides winning, what is your goal for the next match?
Well, so district points is an important part of district first robotics. So we want to get as many district points as possible, and we get some bonus points here if we win this next match. So we'd really like to get those, help us out qualify for the state championship.
Obviously, this was a little bit of a close match. What were you thinking as you were waiting to hear the final score?
Well, I mean, we knew once we got that triple climb that we were in a good spot. Barring something crazy happening, we had taken the match, that was good. But we knew coming in for that triple balance there at the end, we needed to get that triple engaged. So we were happy to get that. We practiced that a lot during the lunch break today, so we were happy with it.
Paid off. All right, thanks, James. Appreciate it. Good. Thanks for the win. All right, Dan.
Kaylee, thank you. Let's jump back to some action from the previous match.
It was interesting, too, as we watch this auto mode here for Red going back up and getting that balance. It's interesting what we heard James say there, which is that, these 3 robots have never played on Alliance before. And so they get a little bit of time once they find out who their partners are. They have a lunch break, and there is a practice field. So they got all the robots out to the practice field to make sure they could fit what orientation they want to be in there. And that's good preparation. So we can see over here, all those cones kind of piling up on the ground. 6877 adds another one here. And this is where I was a little confused. They had those cones there, but nobody was able to kind of make use of them. We saw them still there at the end of the match. 6877 tried to kind of shove some in on the low spot, but I think if they had planned that a little bit better and made use of those game pieces, they could have narrowed that gap a little bit more. So we can see right here, right before they go in balance, I think they shove one of the cones in. Get yourself 2 points for that, but just a few points short there.
So we now move on to match 7 in round 2. It's Clarkston Team Rush, Forest Hills Comets, and South Haven Ramageddon.
Yep, this is Alliance 1 versus Alliance 5. And so this is going to be the upper bracket. So whichever team loses this, whichever alliance loses this match is not out. They get to play again in the lower bracket. And this 5 alliance here that we're looking at with Zealand, that one team, and the Robotarians, they have the highest score of the elimination round so far with their 143 in the first round. So it'll be interesting to see if they can keep up that level of output against the #1 seed here.
Do you think teams, Dan, pay a lot of attention to, is it hard for a team to not pay more attention to, hey, what is the other team doing well? What do we have to anticipate versus, hey, we just need to take care of what we do best? How much of that goes back and forth, do you think?
The drivers need to be focused on the match they're playing, but your strategy team needs to be looking ahead so that you are prepared for that next match if you make it there. So they should know, hey, if we lose this match, we're playing against these guys. If we win this match, we're playing against the winner of this match. I want to know both of those alliances' capabilities. What can we do to kind of exploit some of their weaknesses?
So the stage and the field is set. We're waiting for a thumbs up from, well, we're going to get the crowd a little more engaged first, I think, before they...
Yeah, it looks like our FTA still has the thumbs down. Now we got a thumbs up. So waiting for that last robot to kind of connect up. But we're good to go now. All right, keep an eye on 33-57 and 27. They both can get a second score here, and if they do, they're going to be playing from ahead this whole match. All right, so they get 1 extra, and the second 2 attempts miss. You see the Comets actually going for 3 tries there.
Yeah, very aggressive by the Comets, and definitely a fast machine ready to move quickly across the playing field, and it's got a cone that's going to get popped up.
48-55 went over, crossing over that bridge, and in auto mode, 48-55 went low with their cone, did not score it because it's over the line. So we're actually tied coming out of auto mode, despite the extra attempts by the Comets.
And there's no quick recovery by that Ramageddon machine from South Haven.
And that robot was going to be, I think, a defensive robot here. So instead now, all 3 blue robots playing offense, just kind of running back and forth. So it's 3v2. Can the 2 top-seeded red robots outscore these 3 blue robots?
And obviously, how does strategy change when it's 3v2 and you've got the 2?
In this case, I don't think anything changes. They lost their defensive robot, but if they pull another robot off offense to play defense, like 1 robot is not going to be enough. They do have some problems, and we saw the Comets take care of it there. They've got to get 48-55 far enough away from that ramp that they're able to balance it at the end, that charge station. So they did a good job of coming across the ramp, hitting them, pushing them back a little bit. And they're keeping up in score. It's, 1-point match right now, then blue comes back, opens it up, but that last blue score completed a link of 3, so they jumped out to a little bit of a lead.
Yeah, the Blue Alliance has not taken advantage of the fallen robot. That's the Ramageddon from L.C. Moore High School.
Yep, so blue finished their top row, red finished their top row. They're both working on that middle row now, with blue a couple game pieces ahead. And the other thing, crucially, is blue is going to get a couple extra points in endgame, even if they just have a parked robot. And 49-67 could keep scoring, but they're going to go for all 3.
Blue Alliance positioning, but Red Alliance trying to get 1 more cube on before they balance, and everybody's going to be up.
Blue tip back down. Blue tip back down. They've got to correct it, and they're not doing it.
Wow.
And they rolled off.
Oh, my goodness.
Red might be able to sneak this one out. We've got 2 robots in blue touching the ground. That means they get 4 points for those, 2 points each. 1 robot is on the ramp, but it's not balanced, so that's only 8. So we're looking at 12 points on the blue side. On the red side, we have 2 robots up and balanced. That's 20 points. So that's an 8-point swing. The scoreboard going into endgame was not an 8-point lead by blue. It was less, but I mean, we're talking about a couple points here or there, so it's going to come down to, were there any penalties? And were there any missed points that, that we don't see here?
you know, the obvious thought is, well, you lose one of 3 robots in your event, in your match, you're toast. We may find out that that logic will not carry when the score is tabulated here. That is a group of kids staying cool under pressure, right?
Yeah, and one of the ways to look at this too, though, is this is our #1 seeded alliance. The #1 seeded alliance is the top-ranked robot after our qualification matches. Their first pick, but then their second pick is actually the 24th kind of best robot at the event. So they're the most uneven alliance. So that third robot you would expect to contribute the least to that alliance.
Okay.
It's not always the case, right? And obviously 4855 is a very capable robot, but man, that balance at the end, they were up and balanced with 2. And knowing that red could only go up and balance with 2, I think they should have just left it alone. They had the win when it was 2 up and balanced. And we saw them kind of pushing 49-67, that one team trying to get up there just to really, really ice the match, but not quite enough time to get it balanced. And it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt that #5 alliance if that is what cost them the win.
Wow. To score 113 points with 2 robots.
Yeah, and that's without the end game, so it's going to be even bigger.
It's not, nothing's tabulated yet, but
so I think what we'll see with that alliance is their offensive output really didn't change much. They lost their defensive robot, which they want to have around to try to suppress the opposing alliance score. So their score is going to be, just estimating here, their score is going to be almost exactly the same as they scored in the first round. They put up a 135 in the first round. I think they were 113 plus 20 for the end game, so they're going to be 133.
And again, as we peel off the layers, well, we'll go downstairs first and check in with Kaylee right now.
Hey guys, yeah, we're here with Nikki. We heard that the game is going to be under review right now. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so every once in a while the head referee wants a chance to double check some scores, make sure we've got everything in right. This was a very close match. We did have a robot tip over. It's been close to the charging station, so did they or didn't they get the points? So we're going to let the head referee and his team sort a few more things out before we get those official scores from him and the team. So it'll be a little bit, but we'd prefer that teams have a better experience, that we have correct scores versus maybe they won, maybe they didn't. So we want to give them the time they need to have an accurate score for those teams.
Especially when we're talking about a game like this where there's so much at stake.
Well, and that's the thing. So the winner of this match gets to continue on in the upper bracket. The loser of this match is going to move on to the lower bracket. So it is crucial for who's going on to keep on the top half of the bracket and who needs to move on to continue to fight for their life in this tournament. And of course, our team in the next match is curious who is going to lose because that's who they have to play. So there's several teams right now concerned with what's going on.
Including us.
Including us, yeah, we want to know.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Dan and Dan, there's a quick update for you. I'm going to send it back up to you.
Nikki and Kaylee, thank you. Let's get to highlights of what we just saw. Pretty interesting with the Red Alliance machine again, incapacitated early.
Yeah, and a couple of things they might be looking for. If that Red Alliance robot is touching the ramp, the charge station, and gets hit by another robot during the end game, they get a free climb out of that. They get a free balance out of that. So they might be looking there. I also saw the head ref was kind of conversing with our FTA, our first technical advisor. So it might have been also that they wanted to make sure that there was no communication issues that they had to worry about during that match. So we'll have to see. 3357, here's a really good look at their mechanism. It's really cool that they have kind of 2 motors working at the same time that helps them really get their arm into position quickly. And 27 following them up there.
Dan, strategically, are most of these alliances built with the idea that 2 robots will be on offense, 1 on defense? Is that kind of the main theme?
I think our top 2 alliances are that way. This alliance number 5 was 3 on offense. I think we've got a couple more. What generally will happen is the top couple robots, top couple alliances will tend to have 2 on offense, and if they can get an offensive robot at 24, right,
here's our scores. Red Alliance.
Yep.
133 points.
It is that 133 we kind of predicted.
Yeah.
Only 122 for blue, and that's all in the end game. They gave up a lot of charge station points there and end game park points if you combine those together. And that really hurt them. I mean, again, they could have had 22 end game points there. Instead, they got 14. So that was 8 points available to them. But actually, based on this score, they had to go for that triple balance in order to have enough points to win. So good strategic move, but it didn't work out.
A wild last match, 7. Let's go down to Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, I have Luke here from Team Rush, from the Red Alliance of the last match. You guys had a bot down pretty early. Tell me how you guys worked around that.
Yeah, for sure. So our alliance partners unfortunately did fall right off the bat, but Austin Comets are really just such fast scorers that we knew that we were able to catch up even without them. So while we did miss them, Austin Comets really just put up the scores that fast. So a lot of communication between the drive team members specifically. So calling out who was going where. We didn't want each other to hit each other. Really just getting consistent flow back and forth.
Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of, being flustered or frustrated when that happens. How were you able to get through that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So this year, our biggest thing is obviously the communication factor, but we're taking one match at a time. We're taking one game piece at a time. We don't want to get stressed out over what might happen in the last 20 seconds right when the match starts. We're doing it a lot play by play. It's just taking it one thing at a time. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, and so Dan said earlier that usually you think when you have a bot down so early in the game, you might take yourself out. So this was about not taking yourself out.
Yeah, for sure. This game involved a lot of commitment to that. Obviously, there was some sadness seeing that in the beginning, but we knew that if we tried hard enough, we proved it on the scoreboard there, but we did all we could and it showed out.
All right, well, congrats on that win, Luke. Thank you so much for talking with us. Back up to you guys.
All right, thank you. Well, every year we see something a little different, a little new. Don't feel like you're out and down just because you got a robot that's tipped over.
Yep. And they are not out yet, remember. So our losing alliance number 5 there is now going to be in the lower bracket. They're going to face off against alliance number 6. And alliance number 4 is awaiting the loser of the match we're about to play, which is 2 versus 3.
So we continue navigating this field of 39 schools that have convened here at Grand Valley State University. And there is activity all over the state today. And going forward, we're just going to kind of keep building up to the finals that happen in early April at Saginaw Valley State. But here's what's coming up in match 8, round 2 in the upper bracket with Allendale's Trisonics, the Hopkins Tech Vikes, and Calvin Christian's Squires Robotics. And for the Red Alliance, Montague, Goodrich, and Goodrich. Interesting. What do you think is the dynamic of how competitive or how well they work together?
I mean, they're on the same alliance, so I think they're going to work well together. They build 2 identical robots, and then they actually assign the drive teams, I think, after the robots are done. So they kind of work as one big team during the year. And now we'll see if they can get that extra score here. So 70 with the extra cone. They're not going to try to score it, but they do have it in their gripper.
And away we go in a teleop.
Yeah, and I love this 70 robot or the 494 robot, whichever one you want to look at. They've got a wrist actuator there, so they're actually picking the cone up on one side of the robot, and you'll see every time they come to score, they actually rotate the cone around so they can score off the other side of the robot. Saves them a little bit of time of turning around, and every time you save a second, it adds up. Good defense there. You can see it, the rotate, and then it rotates back around. It's just so much fun to watch that robot.
You mentioned the directional changes that some of these machines are able to execute. Is that new this year? Or more teams adding it?
In terms of the swerve drives, as I called it.
Thank you.
So watching the directions, how like every robot on the field right now I think can move sideways, except, well, it looks like 4 of the 6 can move sideways. And that's very new. I think starting last year it started to take off, and this year the swerve drive just exploded. So you can see 6094 and 8612 have the old style and tank style driving or differential drive. So they can't move sideways, still pretty maneuverable, but it's just watching these robots float around the field is always fun.
Yeah, these machines move very quickly and efficiently, and we've got a very tight score, really only about a 10-point swing with Red Alliance up on Blue Alliance. And boy, the Red Alliance just really positioning themselves well to put up a lot of points here.
Yeah, so the top is done for both alliances. It looks like they're both now working on the second row. I think the one difference is I think Red might have a ground floor link. that's kind of keeping them in the lead here.
And now we move into the final 30 seconds. We'll see who can do what in the charge stations. They try to balance, and Blue Alliance a little bit behind. Let's see if they can make a late run here to.
And they've got to try to score that extra piece.
They're losing points. Red Alliance
no
is.
Time. It looks like there's some trouble too with their robot 8612. Not able to get back to park. That robot is not moving for the last, I don't know, 8 to 10 seconds of the match, which is going to hurt them as well. And we can see there are a lot of game pieces scored on the ground for the Blue Alliance, but none of them, we don't have 3 in a row anywhere. Oh, we do, yeah, no, we don't, because that one is out over the tape, so you got to be careful. It's got to be completely inside the tape line here on the blue side. So they needed a few more of those to link up in order to keep them close here.
So that was the Squires robotics machine that was kind of left stranded out there at the center line.
Yep, and that's, I mean, so if they had gotten back and pushed one more game piece in the right spot, that would have been another 7 points down on the ground and 2 more points for parking. So there was at least 9 points that they lost with that robot being out, and potentially more. Meanwhile, Red executed pretty well. They're very methodical about going top row and then building the mid row. And what that does for them is it makes sure they don't have any non-completed links. So again, anytime you can get 3 game pieces in a row, it only counts if they're horizontally in a row. You get a bonus of 5 points, and each game piece can only be part of 1 link. So if you put 4 together, you don't get 3 on this side and 3 on that side. It's just 1 link of 3. Once you get to 6, though, then you have 2 links of 3, so you get 10 points. But they're doing a good job of scoring kind of in an orderly fashion. You can see they did the whole top row, then they started on the middle row on the left and worked their way over.
So we bring up the scoreboard here, and this is final. It's a Red Alliance win, 147 points.
Yep, big
That's
score.
That's legit.
Yep, that is the highest score thus far in these playoffs. 143 was our previous best score. So that number 2 Alliance, I mean, they've got a lot of scoring potential there. And you can see Charge Station let Blue down a little bit. They didn't get, I think, the autonomous points, and then that sort of had them playing behind the whole match, which is not a comfortable place to be. And then they lost out a little bit at the very end. They didn't get those parking points.
Let's swing downstairs and rejoin Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, I have Lydia from Trisonics here. Your guys' first loss. What do you think happened during this last match?
Yeah, so we had a little bit of difficulties with our Auton, but hopefully we're going to be able to get those all fixed and ready for our next match we have to compete in.
What's something that you think went right that you want to take into the next match?
Our Auton, at least for the beginning of it, went really well for all 3 of our robots. And I felt like we had pretty good communication too all the way across for our high grid, and we almost got the whole middle grid too, which was very nice, I think, for our alliance working well together.
I was going to say, obviously your first loss, so you guys have a chance to come back. What's the one thing that's going to be top of mind or your goal for the next match?
Definitely making sure that we kind of stay out of each other's way. We kind of got a little bit clustered in a couple of areas, so definitely talking and working out to see what would be the best idea and how we should maneuver around each other.
All right, Lydia, thank you. Dan and Dan, I'm going to send it back up to you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the insight from downstairs in the pits. Let's go to our highlights, and really both alliances have a lot to be happy about, especially, you know, Blue Alliance with the mechanical issue, but still pretty good.
Yep, and they have another chance to come back. So we can see here that 494 robot dropping a cone on, and here is that Allendale robot. Really like their elevator and the extension out approach. And 2054 here doing a good job. You can see a little bit more scattered in terms of where Blue is scoring. Red, we can see it kind of going. They've got the 3 on the ground, but look at that. They're just going to build from the left, going across. And they actually had a really good rotation here. So you can see 70 left, 494 came in and scored next. And that's kind of what she was talking about in the interview, is they need to get a little bit better on our Blue Alliance here at rotating the robots in and out. Because if you have everybody going to the loading station at the same time, you're in each other's way. If everybody's getting back and trying to score at the same time, you're in each other's way. And I think that might be why some of their game pieces spread out more. As we saw also a miss there by 2054, that would have completed that mid-row link.
And there's the successful balance on the charging station for the Red Alliance to cap things off. Again, 147. That's the highest point total we've had in any event so far today here at Grand Valley. So right now, let's continue our coverage here, take a break, and hear from consumers.
These unassuming gray cylinders, called ATRs, are helping prevent tens of thousands of outages each year. Here's how. This is a model of an electric system, similar to the one that provides energy to your home or business. At each end is a substation that feeds power to the lines you see running through your community. In the past, these two systems met in the middle, but were kept separate so they didn't do this. The problem is, when a storm blew in and knocked a tree onto the lines here, it would take out this entire system until crews could repair it. This is where ATRs change the game. They act like traffic lights for electricity. They know if the light should be green to let electricity pass or red to stop. Right now, these ATRs know they should be green to allow power to pass. Where the power lines meet in the middle, the ATRs are red to keep the two systems from meeting, just like before. Here's the difference. Now, when a storm knocks a tree onto the lines, these ATRs sense there's trouble and put up a red light to stop the electricity and make the system safe. When the ATRs in the middle sense power is lost on this side, they'll turn green, automatically restoring power to these customers until it reaches the stoplight put up by these ATRs, limiting the outage to the smallest area possible until crews can clear the tree and the system goes back to normal. ATRs are part of a modernized system that's already helping prevent tens of thousands of outages a year. So be on the lookout. If you see crews installing ATRs in your area, that means your power just got more reliable. Consumers Energy, a force for you, a force of change.
We're coming back and getting ready for match 9, which is not quite set yet to go. Right now, let's reconnect with Kaylee Marentate downstairs.
Hey there, we are here with some Forest Hills Comets members. Joshua is a coach, Aiden, who is a student. How excited are you guys?
I'm really excited. This is my senior year. I'm team captain, so it's just really exciting to build a bot and to let it compete.
Very cool. So speaking of that bot, I want to start off with this. You guys have a traditional feature on your bot. Tell me about that. What makes it different?
Yeah, so I can speak on that. So since 2017, we've been developing a tank drive, which is just a 6-wheel center drop. Compared to most traditional teams who this year a lot are using swerve drive. But since we've been developing this and we haven't developed swerve drive enough in the summer, we decided to do tank this year compared to most teams, which has actually been working out really well. Currently, we're geared to about 22 feet a second, which is one of the fastest in this competition. So it's nice to juke some people in defense.
I was going to ask, why did you guys decide to do that? Is it for the speed factor?
It's mostly speed, but more the fact that we tried swerve this summer, but didn't get enough development on it. And tank is something we know how to do really well. We have hot swappable drive rails, so in 4 bolts, the whole drive rail will come off.
Very cool. So I want to talk to you guys about how you are helping other teams in first.
Yeah, so we are fortunate enough to have the opportunity both at competition and at home to provide extra assistance to whether it be getting extra drive practice to teams when we're at home, or we have a phenomenal base of coaches and students on the team who go around and assist other teams, whether it be figuring out an electrical issue or providing spare parts, and not only giving them a part, but helping them through the process of troubleshooting and why a component or a sensor needs to be changed out. Just kind of giving the insight of our experience to assist developing the younger programs.
Why did you guys decide to do that?
Because it's what FIRST is about. You know, we're fortunate enough to be having a very successful season, and it's all the more fun when everyone can have a successful season. So why would I want to play against someone when they're struggling when I can play when they're having as much fun as they can because they're being successful as well?
Exactly. What do you guys think about, so you guys are returning, what do you guys think about this year's setup compared to last year's?
I can speak on that. So it's definitely challenging compared to last year. Last year we had to pick up balls and shoot them. This year we have a giant arm on an elevator, so that's caused a lot of reliability issues. So early on we were struggling, especially last week at Muskegon. But we made a lot of improvements this week, and now we're ranked 2nd, I believe, right now. So we've definitely improved a lot.
Do you think that's the most challenging part of this new course?
Yeah, I think the most challenging part for us is our reliability. Just making sure like none of the electrical breaks, nothing mechanically breaks. Very challenging.
We've never done an arm like this. So as opposed to a drive base that we've been iterating for years, this is the first time we've done a massive swinging arm. So it's a fresh take on not having to shoot. We've had to shoot balls for the last 3 or 4 years, so we're like, yes, it's a placement game, but you know, it comes with its own challenges.
It is different. Yeah, it's different than before. All right, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time and coming to chat with us, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to send it back to you.
All right, thank you. And we are on the cusp of unleashing the machines for match 9 as they are restaging the playing field. Let's take a look at the brackets and see how things shape up. So again, we've taken out a few of the lower seeded teams, and away we go.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at what's left, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But, you know, very close. Alliance 5, if you remember, had that huge first round score, and then came down a little bit in their loss to Alliance number 1. So it's going to be really interesting to watch there in the next match if they can get back up into those 140s and really make a challenge for the event here. Alliance 1 and Alliance 2, we're going to get a treat there. Very consistent alliances, but Alliance 2 with the higher scores. They edged them out in the first round, and they really put it up with 147 in the second round. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. And then Alliance 3 and Alliance 4, those are some alliances where we've seen a little bit more variation in terms of, you know, their scoring potential. So they're definitely good enough to compete, but, you know, which version is going to show up? Are they going to be able to you know, hit all their auto modes, get all of the quick lineups on their scores, or, you know, are they going to drag a little bit?
Are there any individual machines that have and teams that have impressed you? And if so, what machine and why?
Well, so lots of them. And in fact, if you walk through the pits, which is something I like to do, you can find something on pretty much every machine that is interesting that you can learn from. And so, yeah, I definitely like talking to the teams and seeing that stuff. But just of the teams we've been watching, you know, 3357, in a world of swerve drive robots, we heard about them, you know, sticking with what they knew this year, which is that tank drive, and still being very, very fast getting across the field. So that speaks a lot to their gripper, their acquisition system, but also their driver has been very impressive. I really do like, I talked about it when they were playing, but both of the Martian robots, that rotating wrist, I think is a lot of fun to watch. And 27 has a couple of tricks up their sleeve that we haven't seen yet. Alliance number 1 hasn't needed to use it, but they actually have some poles that they can lower down. They can come from the side of the ramp and put the poles underneath their partner and use that to sort of hold them in place, and then fold up and actually be the third robot on the ramp, but hanging off the side of it. So that's something that also is very, very cool. We saw them, I think, use it once, try to use it another time and have it not work. We haven't seen it yet here in the elims, and that's something I'd like to see, so hopefully we get that in the match. So
we reintroduce the teams coming into match 9, the Coloma Robotarians, and now with the other 3 teams on the Blue Alliance here, Paw Paw, Holland Christian, and Lowell Senior.
Yep. So we'll see, everybody's lined up again. This is 2 alliances that were both on offense, but 3234 was working the low area, the floor area, the low part of the grid there. 107 moved up and was scoring finally on the top row in their last match that they won. So I think that was an effective change. I think they were working on their robot and maybe had some issues in the first match. So that's going to be something to watch. But Red, if Red is going and getting everybody involved, it's going to be hard to keep up.
And the strategy and knowing your opponent become more meaningful as we go deeper and deeper through these matches.
Yeah, I think because the margin gets closer, right? We saw a pretty big win, like Alliance 1 versus Alliance 8 was 135 to 109. But now we're having matches that are 10 points or less that are deciding some of these. And that's, you know, those little things, knowing like, oh, they want to go this way, so if we reroute our path to get in their way, you know, we can still keep scoring, but maybe hit them a few times, slow them down. Every time you do that, if you gain a second, it's going to add up.
So match 9 is rolling right now with the autonomous period. Not long, but the Blue Alliance, the Red Arrows machine, is going to head onto that charging station.
Yep, good balance from both sides. We do see one extra high score for Red, so they got a very tiny lead here.
So the Robotarians machine from Coloma crashing into that loading zone.
Moving fast. We'll see, though. 85 spending a lot of time on the middle of the field right now. They do manage to pick that cone up. I don't know if it was worth it, spending a lot of time going after it. Obviously, the drive is shorter. We see 107 as well. Like, driving to that cone is faster, but it's hard to pick it up when they're on the floor. If you come back to the human player, they get to kind of feed you the ball or the cube or the cone where you want it. And sometimes it can save time. Driving farther can save time. There's a penalty drawn. 107 trying to get past 85. 85 in that blue taped area. Not allowed to be there. They get hit. That is a 5-point penalty. So Blue starting to stretch the lead a little bit.
Two-paw Robotics trying to drop a cone and see if they can give a little more cushion to their lead on the Red Alliance.
We'll see a lot of links still available. Blue getting those the ground floor level links very quickly. We actually need Blue needs to get some more cones up so they can finish their top row and get the links there. Red doing kind of a good job at that. This cone, 4967 is going to go middle with that.
And the Team Robotics machine for Blue Alliance really moving well and going to place a cube right now.
Yep, on the ground. Again, that does complete a link, though, so 2 points for putting it on the ground, but 5 points for the link makes it a worthwhile endeavor. All right, we are in the last 20 seconds now.
This is not a high-scoring match, but we'll see how things go.
Red needs to score this, so 4967 here. This score will complete a link, so that is 10 points, and now they've got to get this balance done to finish the comeback. But not enough time.
Boy, this is close, and getting all those machines onto the charge station might be enough to get Blue Alliance and moving on in this one.
Yeah, it looks like Blue's going to have the advantage there. Red, again, I mean, that last second score by 4967, again, you know, we questioned their decision earlier. Turned out it was the right decision to go for the triple balance here. Scoring that cone very late was also important. We can see them on the far end of the field as Blue does their double balance. That cone was worth 10 points. So if they had missed that cone, right, because 5 points for putting it up high and it completed a link, if they didn't do that cone, I'm not sure the triple balance would have been enough to win them the match. So they went for the risk. Did not pay off. Sometimes that makes you look worse than if you don't take the risk, but that was their only path to winning the match. So good strategy decision, just needed another 5 seconds to pull it off.
We've seen a few matches that have been decided based on what happens in the charge station at the end. This is one of them.
Yep, so we have that 5-point penalty we talked about earlier, 111-93 victory, so that is an 18-point win. If they had triple balanced instead of, they had, I think, one robot up and balanced, they would have gotten 20 more points. But in order to do that without scoring the other game piece, they would have lost 10. They needed both. They needed the last score and the triple balance. They went for it. And again, that's all you can do. They're making good decisions. They're playing the game the way they have to play to win. Sometimes you have to take chances, especially when you're coming from behind like this. And, you know, my hat's off to number 5 Alliance. Their strategy has been spot on, just coming up a little bit short in terms of having enough time to pull it off.
So that will wrap their competition for the afternoon, but the Blue Alliance advancing downstairs to Kaylee.
Hey guys, I have James from 107 Blue Alliance. Big win for you guys. How do you feel?
Hey, thanks, Kaylee. It's good to be back. We're feeling great right now. Our strategy is working. We're getting all those links there, filling the low row, getting the cubes in the mid and the high. It's working well. We're excited to continue it. We're playing a lot of opportunistic defense, it's called. We're hitting the other alliance when we can to stop them from scoring, and it's worked out. So far, we're going to try to keep on rolling here with the winner of the next match.
What's one thing that you guys wanted to focus on in this last match, and do you think you accomplished the goal that you wanted to?
Well, our goal was obviously to win. However, in order to do that, we knew our robot needed to score more. Two-Paw and Red Arrows was doing a great job. And we did achieve that, which was good. 107 was able to score. And then we did think we needed the triple balance. However, unfortunately, Red Arrows 32-34, their robot actually broke there towards the end game. So we only had the double balance, but we had built up enough of a lead throughout teleop that we were able to still hold on to the match.
You guys are going on to play in the next match. What's one thing that you guys want to improve on?
Well, we need to go and fix 32-34's robot because we need to be able to get that triple climb if we're going to win. Another thing 107 is going to work on is changing our arms offset so we can score cones quicker. Doing that, we think we have the potential to beat the winner of whatever the next match is. So we're looking forward to doing that and working together as an alliance.
All right, well, good luck to you. Thank you, James. Dan and Dan?
All right, James Cayley, thank you. Yeah, he gets very comfortable in the winner's circle, doesn't he?
Yeah. And what he was saying makes a lot of sense, too. That opportunistic defense thing is a big deal. If you're more comfortable with contact than your opponent and you hit them every time you cross the field, you can get yourself an advantage that way. So good auto mode here.
Yeah.
Nice clean balance by 85.
And
Blue
you're only going to
matching
send you only send one machine into that charge station at the beginning.
Yep, in auto mode, only one balancing robot counts. So even if you balance with all three, you only get credit for one.
Okay. Just clarifying that.
I mean, here's some of that. When you see this mess in the middle of the field, you know, I want to see 107 either get that cone off the ground quickly or move on and go back to the human player. They spent a little bit more time there than we would like to see.
So that was close. You know, it seems like the margin of victory is shrinking from match to match. So that's definitely something to keep tabs on. Here's what's coming up now in match 10. Calvin Christian, Allendale, and the Hopkins Tech Vikes.
Yep, that's our number 3 seed.
And they'll go up against Hart Motor, Wayland Wildcats, and Holland's Team Chaos.
With the number 4 seed. Again, now we are back in the lower bracket for this match, so the loser is eliminated. So this is win or go home right here for both of these alliances.
So we are narrowing the field down as we move from match to match here. Autonomous begins, and begins well for both teams. They're going to get almost 30 points.
Yep, 86-12. Did not balance. That looks balanced, but the light did not turn on. So they're down 4 points for that, I think.
Very close.
Yep, 8 points instead of 12. Red, though, with the extra score on the ground during autonomous mode, I mean, they're still right there, 42-41.
The Trisonics machine on the move with a cone as they place that on the top row.
And we do see a red penalty. It looks like 86-12 might have made contact inside that scoring zone, the community zone for blue. That'll be at 5 points, and we will see that on the scoreboard now.
Wow. Big log jam for the Red Alliance right in their loading zone.
And this is exactly what they were talking about after their matchup against Alliance number 2. They need to rotate better. They need to make sure they're staying out of each other's way. And right there, again, we had the choice. 2054 could have gone high side and hit the blue robot. Instead, they tried to go low side and hit their own teammate.
So good defense there by the Squires Robotics Red Alliance robot.
Yeah, another kind of miscommunication as 4003 was picking up off the ground. 2054 had to work their way around them. Lost a second or two.
Now the Blue Alliance has kind of boxed themselves into their loading zone. But the 74 robot, Team Chaos from Holland.
Yeah, we'll see. 61-28 having a hard time loading that cone. But they're so far out of the way that they really didn't slow their partner down until 74 dropped again. But 60-90 there. And this score, after 60-90 leaves, one more is going to complete the top row here. So blue gets a link. That's going to be a 10-point bonus for blue total. Well, 5 for the link, 5 for putting the cone up high. Red has completed their top. They both have one in the middle row, one link in the middle row. Blue gets a link on the bottom here.
Motor robot in the Blue Alliance waiting to balance on the charging station, and they're in great shape.
Yeah, I think they've got it. We got 86-12 is dead in the middle of the field.
Oh, boy.
Not going to be able to make it back for the triple balance or for, you know, even the 2 parking points.
And that could be meaningful.
Yeah, and the loss of that defense at the end, too, is going to really, really hurt them.
So the Squires Robotics machine from Granville and Calvin Christian High School comes up short at the end.
And so this could be a little bit of an upset. I mean, again, we're Alliance 3 versus Alliance 4, so they are theoretically at least pretty evenly matched. 60-90, captaining the number 4 seeded Alliance, Wayland Wildcats. Has been a great robot all weekend, kind of sneaking under the radar. So good balance there at the end, 4003 and 2054. But again, only 2 because their third partner, or the third robot, having some issues. And here, this was a little scary, a little bit of the back and forth, but they got it. You can see 86-12, all they can do is watch as their robot non-functional here at the end.
So we have the Blue Alliance almost to 150. That, I think that matches our highest point
total.
total.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tie for the highest score. They did get 10 penalty points to help them, you know, get to there. And those 10 penalty points, I mean, you take those 10 penalties out, it's 137, 127. That dead robot could decide it. If they were on the ramp balanced at the end and did nothing else in the time that they were out, that would have tied the match up. So a little bit of tough luck for the number 3 Alliance.
Downstairs we go to Kaylee.
Hey guys, I have Alex from 6090 here with the Blue Alliance. Alex, that was tight the whole time. What was going through your mind and how were you able to keep calm?
We just do what we always do. We try to play a nice, clean game, get as many links on high as possible, and then work with our teammates to do what we practice and get all 3 on the charge station to balance.
What do you think went right here that you're going to take into the next match?
We made up a new strategy for charge station balancing over on the practice field, and then I worked on here. So we're really glad it all worked out.
What do you think is the biggest key that's working in your alliance?
And our alliance is communication. Everyone knows exactly where they need to go, when they need to go. We all know to stay out of each other's way, not clog up areas, and it lets us have a really nice flow during the match.
All right, congrats on that win, Alex. Thank you so much. Back up to you guys.
All right, Kaylee. Good insight from the pits, as it were.
Yeah, but it's always good to hear that Alliance is not resting on their laurels. They went back to the practice field. They knew they needed to find a way to get 3 robots balanced at the end. So they practiced it, and it worked.
I guess the challenge is always to make sure that you're trying to find ways to self-improve. You say resting on your laurels, that's exactly it.
Yep. And you have to be careful. Sometimes it can get hard, especially as these matches will come a little bit quicker. But we have some of these new kind of timeout breaks this year that we didn't have before with the double elimination style tournament. So there are moments that these alliances can get together and practice something if they need to. And you know, good on 6090 for bringing their alliance together to the practice field and getting that worked out. So good defense there. See, this was what 86-12 was doing. Good defense, but like a little bit of, you know, friendly fire there as they came through. And here's 6090. You know, they're just very, very, very understated. They just kind of get in there, pick up the cone, sneak across the field, like nobody touched them, nobody saw them going, and then here they are to score again. And again, what we want to look at is look at that time that it takes for them to drop the cone off. They're in position. How long does it take for them to actually line it up and drop it off? And that number is very short for that robot, and that's important.
We've noticed the years past when they're shooting balls, it seems the emphasis then was just keep shooting. Here, you need a little more finesse because you got to, place these cones just the right place.
Yeah, you would take more shots in last year's game than you're going to be able to place game pieces in this year's game. You can hold, first of all, you could hold multiple game pieces, and the balls were close to where you were scoring, so you didn't have to move a lot to reload. So if you just kind of put up volume shots, you could do well. This year, there's so much time invested in crossing the field and coming back that if you're missing your shot, I mean, you need to be really close to 100%.
Here's the updated bracket. So we're coming into the stretch run here with round 4.
Yep, so we'll see Alliance 1 versus Alliance 2 in the upper bracket kind of finals. Winner of that will move to the finals. And then we had Alliance 4 versus Alliance 6 in an elimination match on the lower bracket to see who's going to make it kind of to the overall semifinals of the tournament.
Let's check in again with Kaylee Marentet.
Hey there, we are here with Dean from Copes. Dean,
Yep.
how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
You
It's a good day.
excited?
It's exciting. It's a good day.
Yes.
It's a good day.
A good day to be inside, too.
Yes.
So tell me, you are here with Copes. What is that? What do you guys do?
We're an automation company, and we automate product to be built in automotive and different industries. And so we use a lot of robots, automation, air, pneumatics, and yeah, we make a lot of cool equipment.
So you guys are in the right spot.
We're in the right place. Yes.
Tell me what you guys do for students here.
Well, first for us, we get our students involved at a mentoring level, and at we like to hire these students. These are the students that we are looking for to get into Copes. Right now I have 2 Dean List winners from last year that are interning right now at my work. I'm actually training one of them right now, and he's running robots, driving robots for me. And so they get real hands-on experience, and they are loving it. They're getting that experience, real-world experience.
Where are you guys based out of, or are you statewide?
We're in many places right now. The main headquarters is in Holland, Michigan.
Okay.
We're also in Saginaw, Greenville, South Carolina, and Irapuato, Mexico. So.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay. What kind of skill sets are you guys looking for?
We're looking for leadership skills. We're looking for kids that have good integrity, that have that teamwork, that want to work together to build things, to come together to make some work. Problem-solving skills is what we're looking for, and just young people that just have that excitement and energy to do what I do every day and build things.
What would you tell kids that are maybe interested in working for Copes one day?
I would say listen to your mentors. Learn from your mentors what they're teaching you. They're teaching real-world experience. They have a lot to give to them. They need to listen to what they have to say, learn from their mistakes, grow from that. They have great opportunity to make a difference in this world. Even at this level, they're learning those life skills that are going to help them someday in a career.
What do you think makes Copes different from other companies and organizations and places that are also hoping to hire some of these students?
I would just say the culture. I feel like what FIRST is about is what Copes is about, and it's just that, seeing people's abilities and skills, looking at strengths, helping them grow themselves. It's just a great culture. It's a fun culture. It's a very young culture, so they bring a lot of energy to work every day, and it's just a lot of fun to be with them each day. So.
Do you often recruit kids from robotics, or these are just kids that you have your eyes on?
No, we do recruit. Today we have a booth here set up that we're have job opportunities. They're getting some hands-on little robots they can play with today just to play and experiment. But they also, we're going to be at State this year, and we're excited to be there and have our booth there to kind of show them what's going on in this side of the state in automation, stuff like that. So we're hoping to pick up some students that we can hire in Saginaw and also in Holland area.
Very cool. What do you want to let these students know when they get out of robotics and they graduate?
Say that again.
What do you want these students to know after they graduate and they're coming into the real world with these experiences and skills from robotics?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Loaded question there.
That's a loaded question. I think just again knowing what they have learned and to apply it to things they do here in the real world. So just simple things like, clean up after yourself, have good integrity, be honest with people, work together, not against each other. You're all trying to have a common goal. We'll work together on that. And sometimes you have to work with people that you might not enjoy working with, but you have to figure it out. And sometimes it's a little bit of a competition going on there, but you have to learn how to cooperate and work together to solve problems and stuff. So
yeah.
Problem solving.
Yeah, exactly, like here. And a lot of good competition here.
Yes. Yes.
So, all right. Thank you, Dean. Or
yes, thank
Dino.
you. Yes. Yeah. You have a great day. Thank you
all
very
right.
much.
Thank you so much. We're going to send it back to you guys.
You bet. Bye.
Kaylee, thank you. As we continue to lay the path out for what's coming, here's one of note, certainly. The 2 Goodrich robots with Montague facing the Red Alliance with Clarkston, Forest Hills, and South Haven.
Yeah, this is the big one, number 1 versus number 2. And I mean, it's very, very close. I mean, we saw number 1 Alliance has scored 133, 135. So they've been very consistent in the kind of mid 130s. But Alliance 2 with a 137 and a 147 right now has the edge in scoring. We'll see though, 48-55 has been a good defensive robot. We'll see if they can make a difference to the number 2 Alliance's score, if they can bring it down a little bit. But 6094 is going to be there to do the same thing to the number 1 Alliance. So this one is going to be close.
And then the challenge too is in the short window of, you know, turnover preparation strategically. What do these teams want to do differently that they maybe haven't done up to now?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And, you know, bonus, if you win this, you get a break. You're in the finals. So the worst you can do is second. You get more time to watch the other alliances play and plan your strategy. I don't know that either alliance here is going to come out doing anything different. The number 1 alliance, they believe that they have the advantage in autonomous mode, and they do. Comet at least tries to score three times in autonomous mode. Sometimes they get 2 of those. I don't think I've seen all 3 yet. 27 also coming out, scoring, attempting at least to score a second game piece in autonomous mode. If they hit those and they're playing from ahead, they got to feel very comfortable just sticking with the strategy that they had. Blue Alliance, though, look, I mean, they've put up higher scores, so they don't feel the pressure to change either. They're going to go out with 494 and 70, just running back and forth, trying to fill that top row. They're going to do it probably in their very organized manner of fill the whole top row, then work the bottom row together so that they don't miss any link opportunities. And I really think we're going to have to watch execution for the kind of the top 2 offensive, you know, firepower on each alliance. But we're also going to watch that 3rd robot, 6094 versus 4855. Who can have the biggest impact on this match?
Do you notice a shift, Dan, from teams that maybe start to emphasize defense a little bit more as they get deeper in this? Or is it always just about, hey, we're just trying to get as many points as we can?
Well, we are down to 2 alliances that I think are 2 primarily on offense, 1 defensive robot. And I think our 2 robots, or 2 alliances in the lower bracket are kind of playing all 3 on offense. So we'll see a clash of that in our kind of like lower bracket finals coming up. But here, yeah, and we'll see too. Let's watch, because, you know, they can score. 6094 definitely can score. You can see they're loaded with that cone at the beginning. And they can always switch them. So if they fall behind too far in auto mode or the beginning of the match, the Blue Alliance can say 3 on offense, or they can go 2 on offense, 1 on defense. They have a little bit of flexibility there. I think the key decision point in this match, if you're either alliance, is going to be what happens in auto mode. If Red hits everything in auto mode and is playing, you know, from that big advantage, then Blue's going to have to try some more outlandish stuff. But, you know, if Red misses a couple like they have been and it's close, then I think they just go right back to their bread and butter.
So the big dogs are going to go toe-to-toe right now with the top 2 alliances. Ready to square off, and again, the winner is going to have a little downtime and know that they will be in the finals.
Here we go.
Red Alliance moving right away to get those cones.
Comets get a second.
Yeah, cube drop.
Can they get their 3rd? 27, though, not going to be balancing. Not fully supported. Comets do get the 3rd. It is low, but still a bonus point for scoring in autonomous mode. But not balancing the charge station means Blue is ahead after autonomous mode.
Yeah, that's the Team Rush robot that could not balance on the charging station.
So now we will see. It looks like defensive posture from 4855, as expected. And we can see the Comets and 27 are just going to try to run as fast as they can. But right now, they're being matched game piece for game piece with, 494 and 70. A little bit of a drop there, but still counts. And Blue has a couple of cubes in their scoring zone here. So those, you saw that quick pickup by 494. As long as they can do quick pickups on those 2 cubes, that's going to be some extra, free points kind of for them.
Yeah, that's going to build their lead as they send 2 of their Blue machines into that loading zone to get more cubes and cones to load up.
60-94 doing a good job of getting one scored low and then getting out of the way. They didn't slow down 74-94 at all as they came in there. 27 is going to take a penalty for that. You can see their hooks, their lifting poles that I talked about, have deployed. Every time they crash into another robot, that's going to be a penalty. So that they're like spearing other robots. That is not allowed. You have to make contact in the bumper zone. So they're getting penalties there. But the fact that those dropped means that robot is having all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
They're not scoring. They can't deploy their stuff off the other side to score. So they're just going to fall farther and farther behind. Comets alone will not be able to match the scoring that we're seeing from Blue.
And the 48-55 red machine, Ramageddon, seems to be a little bit disoriented too.
Yep, hung up a little bit. They're trying to get that triple balance going.
Well, things are turning south for the Red Alliance, and you can see the score continues to swing heavily in favor of the Blue Alliance and their three machines.
Good move by 60-94 there at the end, pushing a game piece in, that extra cube that was hanging out. It's 2 points. They're parked. They're in a little bit early. I would have liked them to bring, if they had gone and gotten one more game piece at the end there, they could have completed a link on the ground, which would have gotten them another 5 points and 2 for the game piece being scored. So they had some time there. But again, when you're up by as much as they were up going into the end game, sometimes it's better to just play it safe, and that's what they did. So we did get the triple balance out of red, which is nice, but they were down by an awful lot after those issues with the 27 robot.
Yeah, this could end up being maybe our most one-sided match, which you wouldn't expect.
Right, and we saw that alliance.
1v2, yeah.
We saw that alliance lose one of their robots in the last match and overcome that and win. But 27, I think, is just too important to their offensive output, so they cannot afford to lose that robot or 33-57 and have any chance of keeping up offensively. But that's part of the beauty of a double elimination tournament, is they're going to have another chance.
So here's the infraction as we see those arms collapse.
There, yeah, it looks like what might have happened was they got tangled on their partner and got pulled down. And I don't think they can lift them back up is the issue. So one of the rules is you are not allowed to reach out of more than one side of your robot at a time. So once those kind of hooks were deployed or those poles were deployed, I think they're actually not able to pick up game pieces anymore. And so that's why they switched to defense, but they picked up those penalties playing defense just because, you know, they got to keep the flat side of their robot to the robots they're trying to defend. They missed that a couple times. We can see that here on the scoreboard with 15 penalty points.
So Red Alliance, even with the failed robots, 111 points, but it is not enough to knock off the #2 alliance, the Blue Alliance, with Montague and the 2 Goodrich robots.
Yeah, that 147 matches, again, the highest score of these elimination rounds that this #2 alliance put up in their last match. So they are looking very consistent and very dangerous, although the score was aided a little bit by the 15 penalty points.
Let's go back downstairs and reconnect with Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, I have Ben from 3357 in the Red Alliance. Not the outcome you were hoping for. What happened in that last match?
So it started out great. There were a few technical difficulties. Unfortunately, Rush's forks dropped, which causes a penalty in our alliance. And they had some collisions in the middle that caused some issues. So now we're dropped to the lower bracket. We're going to try our best to kind of bounce back and power our way through to come back for the finals match and have a big ending.
What's going to be your mentality and the biggest component of making your way back into the finals?
Relaxation. I mean, the thing is there's so much pressure with the noise and the atmosphere of this event that if you keep a calm head, that's all you really need to have. And we know we can win, and that's what we're going for.
What went right in this match?
I think, like I said it before, just being able to react to new scenarios and understanding what's going on at all times and taking a step back. It's really easy to rush in and say, okay, let's do this and whatever. But taking a step back and taking a second to realize, okay, this is what we need to do and this is how we need to play this, and going from there slowly.
All right, thank you, Ben. Good luck. Dan and Dan?
All right, Ben, always nice to see confidence and commitment, faith in your plan and your strategy, and don't pull off the gas.
In some ways, having a broken robot be the cause of the loss is easier to deal with.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like you went strength against strength and got beat, right? If 27 comes back and is working, they have every right to believe that they can compete with this #2 alliance.
Here's the highlight package. as we move back and see what.
Yeah, just flying across the field, 33.57. And again, I mean, look at that. That driver parked in the perfect spot, just had to wait for the arm. And we see 494 coming across. We'll get a good look at that wrist. Look at that cone twist around, so it's facing the right direction when they get to the other side. And a good job. Again, we see 70 and 494 doing a good job of staying in their lane there, not getting in each other's way. One comes in from the left, one comes in from the right, and kind of synchronized scoring here, synchronized scoring. 27 early, looking fine, and then little hang up on that cone. And this was before, of course, their hooks deployed or their forks deployed, and they ran into those problems. Coming back with that triple balance, though, making it look almost easy, getting everybody across there. And Blue, of course, knowing that's all they had to do was balance one more. I like this by 1694. Look, they're parked, and they're like, wait, we got some time. We can score this cube. And they do. So extra 2 points for them there. And could have been almost, I mean, they had a couple in the same spot on the low, so it was almost another link, which would have made it very valuable.
And here's what's coming in match 12. We've got Holland Team Chaos, the Wayland Wildcats, and Hart Motor. And they are up against Paw Paw. Two Paw Robots, Holland Christian Team Robotics, and Lowell Senior. Red Arrows.
Yep, couple numbers just because they worked out so well. This number 4 alliance is averaging 128.66 points a match. Their opponents are averaging 128.66 points a match. So they basically, if you take their 3 matches they played, their score and their opponent's score are basically exactly the same. Our number 6 alliance, much lower. They're only averaging about 115 points a match, but their opponents only won 11. So you can look at this one of two ways. Either number 6 has been playing against alliances that aren't putting out the offensive capability, the offensive output that we've seen across some of the other alliances, or this number 6 alliance is doing some things that are throwing other alliances off their game and bringing their score down. So we're going to look for some of that here. We heard earlier again from 107, their driver saying like, hey, they're looking for contact when they cross the field. Some of those things, especially if the whole alliance is doing it, could be responsible for bringing that score down. So we see some thumbs down here. This is, the robots are all connected. So what they're doing right now is making sure that their driver station, there's a laptop that communicates with the robot and runs, basically reads in all the joystick values and stuff like that, and makes sure that all of that is functioning correctly before they start the match.
Match 12 is going in our autonomous period.
74's cube falls off the shelf and all the way to the ground. So we'll see if this second cone scores for them. They're gonna miss again.
Oh, another drop.
Yeah, but they did manage to push the cube back in on the floor. So we're looking even. 2 high, 1 low for both alliances. We got the balance for both. Looks like maybe 1 mobility bonus was missed.
Still close after the autonomous period. We move to teleop.
So now here we'll see 107. That's better, right? Middle of the field. They picked it up first try. Now they're saving time. That's a great move.
Oh, and a motor, machine tips.
Yep.
Team Chaos.
Right, on contact there. Again, we've got some narrow robots. We've got very high center of gravities on these robots. I think that was a clean hit. I'm sure the rest will discuss it. But, you know, now that's a very important offensive robot for Red. So advantage Blue, especially since they're already up on the scoreboard by 34 points.
Is anybody designing robots that will help pull a fallen robot up? Is that too ambitious?
It's probably too ambitious. There are a few robots in the past that maybe could do it, but it's just so hard to know when you reach in what you're going to hit and where you can grab on.
And then you've got 2 robots wasting time instead of just one that's down.
So that's it. It's worth it if you can go in and do it quickly. You'll find if robots get stuck, like on the side of the ramp or something, their partner will come in and try to bump them free. And it's like you said, if the first couple bumps work, it was worth it. But if you're there for 30 seconds trying to free them up, then that's the match.
Time is your ally and your enemy, depending on what you're trying to do.
Yep, Blue has finished the top, working on the bottom now. 107 just put that where there was already a game piece, so not the best move there.
And for the Red Alliance, it's scramble mode with the Team Chaos robot from Holland High School and Black River Public School tipped over.
See. I saw there was somebody hit 74, and we saw a penalty flag go. It looked like the penalty was on red, so I'm not sure what that was for. We'll have to wait and see. Triple balance for blue, though. Nice and clean. Red does what they can do. But we can see there are open spots on the top of red. Red's scoring grid there, so that's missed links and missed 5-point scores. And without the auto mode advantage, you know, it's just too hard being down that robot.
So example, Dan, if you're the Blue Alliance and you're the team you're against, you know, loses, goes down a robot, do you automatically change strategy, or is it just like, well, you know, we know we have an advantage. You don't have to go crazy to exploit it, but we know that we can just do what we want now.
Yeah, and remember, when that happened, Blue also had already a double-digit lead. So you do change your strategy there. Anything that's risky, you say, hey, we don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I think Blue would have come into this match saying, hey, take some risks. And maybe it paid off, right? Because, again, they talked about let's look for contact as we go across.
Ooh,
and look,
there's the tip.
That wasn't a big hit at all. You know, it was just, they were
just enough to get it off balance.
They got off balance and the CG was high. But I think at that point, instead of looking for contact if I'm Blue, I would try to avoid contact, you know, after that happened. Because, again, just bring it home. You could see they also went early for the triple balance, make sure they get it. Couple extra game pieces being scored, not worth it. Get your 30-point end game. You know, they probably even could have gone with a double balance there, but there are some advantages to practicing.
So onward for the Blue Alliance. They'll move into match 13.
And really good news for them is that's 139 with only 5 penalty points. So that's 134 unpenalized. That's high enough to get them competitive with our number 1 and number 2 alliance. So they found a new way to play. They found some extra offense, and it's working for them.
Let's swing it back downstairs to Kaylee.
Hey guys, I'm here with Tyler from 5462 on the Blue Alliance. First of all, congratulations for that win. You guys were up fairly early on the charging station, I think with 20 seconds left. Why go up so early?
We knew we were ahead and we didn't need to waste time or get any more points on the grid. So
what do you think was the biggest thing that went right in this match? I felt like you guys were very speedy.
Yeah, we just were really smooth. We had 4 matches of experience under our belt, and we were just able to get in. Everybody did their job well, and we just pulled it off.
Is there something that you want to change moving forward?
We've been doing good. We got the same strategy we've had it the last 4 matches, so we think we're going to stick with that going into this next match.
I have one more question. Where did you get your jacket?
I got it off Amazon, but our captain last year brought it over. He used to be a part of the Green Engineers team and had a green jacket there. Brought it over with us last year, and we just continued it.
All right, well, I love it. I hope you continue it again. All right, thanks, Tyler. Dan and Dan.
All right, Kaylee, good. We got a little bit of fashion sense. And now it's time to hand out some awards. Some of the great volunteers who are instrumental in putting on this outstanding event here at Grand Valley State.
Yeah, this is a change in the way that the tournament is run. So this way, you remember last year we had timeouts? No timeouts this year, but in order to give that robot that just played time to reset and be ready for the next match, we're going to give out a couple of awards here.
Okay. So they'll take care of their business down there. Let's take a look back and see how this last match played out.
If this was that auto mode, 32-34, dropping off a cone, but getting the balance crucially. Creeping back up, man, it's just so slow, so smooth. Good job by 60-90. 74 though, right, missing that cube. Kind of was the start of the problems here. And they went up with this cone trying to get a second one. If that cone had landed, would have made up for it. And now we see this is 107. They switched a couple matches ago to scoring cubes high and mid. It's working out for them. 74, we can see them on their side. We saw earlier the hit that did it. Wasn't a big hit. It was just at the wrong time.
Kind of a little drive-by.
Yeah, just a tap, but it was they destabilized themselves as they were making that rotation. Great score by 60-90 there.
So the Blue Alliance kind of took their foot off the gas with the Red Alliance robot taking a tumble, but now we're continuing with the awards down on the field. So let's go down to our PA announcer so we can hear how these people are going to be honored.
Exemplifies the principles of FIRST: fairness, humility, positivity, and respect. From cables to wires, their humanity stood out, helping others in need. This one team had no doubt. Grippingly gracious, they found root cause. Congrats, Team 4967. This one team really stood out.
4967, that one team. From Belmont, our next engineer.
All right, the Team Spirit Award celebrates extraordinary enthusiasm and spirit through exceptional partnership and teamwork, furthering the objectives of FIRST. This thundering herd is ram-strong with diverse talent. Their all-freshman drive team is enthusiastically lifted by team and fan encouragement and praise, welding their way to a spirited success. Congrats to Team 4855!
Ram again from South Haven.
We'll be giving away some more awards after the next match, before the final matches, so please stay tuned.
Let's go downstairs as downstairs we go to recheck with Kaylee.
We're here with a familiar face. Nikki is the event and volunteer coordinator. Nikki, excited to be back.
I am so excited to be back. We have a wonderful venue here at Grand Valley State University. They always graciously welcome us in and to host. So it's always fun to be back at the West Michigan District event.
Yes, I agree. Great event here. Tell us about today's event.
Yep, so we're here at Grand Valley State University. We have been hosting here since 2004. We've got 40 teams from all across Michigan. We've got teams from the UP and several teams from the east side of the state this year. So it's very nice to see a diverse group of teams along with our kind of regulars we see from the west side of the state. We're running this event with about 70 volunteers who have been gracious enough to volunteer their time for 2 long days. And they have been making sure this event runs without a hitch. So we are excited. We've got a huge fan base out here. And of course, who doesn't want to watch robots for the weekend?
like you said, a lot of great volunteers, a lot of like love and energy there is around this event. Also a lot of great sponsors. Tell me about some of the sponsors.
Yeah, so we have a wonderful community here in West Michigan that is very familiar with First. We have some of the oldest teams in the league. So we have teams that are actually going to be celebrating their 30th anniversary next year.
Wow.
Yeah, so actually Team 27 here is celebrating 27 of 27.
Very cool.
Yeah, but the companies are very familiar with us because their students are out canvassing the community, helping to get funds raised for the organization. So in tow, once people see how cool the event is, they want to get their name on the event as a sponsor. And what's really cool is we've got several automation companies out here. So we've got Copes Automation, I'm from JR Automation, we're out here. And these are people who have gone pro in the industry, and they're getting behind this event because this is their future workforce.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the relationship between, like you said, it's their future workforce. Tell me about the relationship between these sponsors and these students.
Yeah, so for example, in my company at JR, we have 7 teams that we sponsor. 6 of them are actually competing here today, and we encourage employees to get out and mentor the teams. So we actually have several of our mechanical and controls engineers out here as full-time mentors, helping these kids design, debug, and program their robots. So it's a great way for them to integrate their skill set with students, mentoring them along the way because, we specialize in designing automated equipment. That's what these kids are doing for the event, just they're automating, picking up cones and cubes for the weekend. So it's a great way to share, like, hey, this is what you're doing now, but hey, guess what? We get paid to do this, so great career opportunities later.
Yes. So this obviously means a little bit more to you. Tell me about your experience.
So my mother has been toting me to First Robotics events since I was 4. My age now starts with a 3, so it's been quite a while of coming to robotics events. My dad will be celebrating 30 years of mentorship next year.
Wow.
So I grew up in First. I was that kid that was always coming along. I knew the events were fun. So that's why I joined a team, because it's fun to be in the robotics team. And then I fell in love with it and decided to pursue automation engineering as a career. But yeah, this is a great experience for kids. They're never going to have something that bonds them as a team and more like a family. Then it comes to like this really hard project of building a robot together to successfully compete.
What do you think First taught you that you carried in to the real world for work and outside of work?
Sure. I think one thing I learned, and especially when I started at university here in Grand Valley, is that engineering is a team sport. Like, you can't do this on your own. Like, I think people assume in school that you're supposed to work on your work by yourself, kind of get it done and get it over with. But engineering truly is a team sport. These kids are learning that it doesn't take one kid to build a robot. It takes a whole community. When you get to school, it takes a whole community working on your projects. And then when you move into the professional industry, I have a whole team of engineers behind me to get a project done. So you're getting exposure to that early teamwork that is truly what engineering is.
Yes, and I think any profession that these students decide to go into, especially engineering, you are going to be on a team somewhere, unless you're, I don't know, a photographer working by yourself.
Right. Well, and I think too that so it's for the kids who don't pursue engineering, the students who are interested in the marketing and the finance side, they've got to learn to talk to an engineer. We're a little bit different as engineers, but they already understand that technical aspect of how do I communicate in a technical way my point across versus in some of the other industries where it's maybe just creatively. It's a different kind of speak in a technical world.
Gotcha. All right, Nikki, thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
For First, and I know the students and everyone else appreciates it. So I appreciate you sitting here talking with us.
Yes, and thank you, and welcome back to the West Michigan District event.
I love it. I've had a great time so far.
Good.
All right, well, we're going to send it back to you guys.
All right, girls, thank you. Yeah, these events do not succeed without energy and enthusiasm and commitment. And, yeah, for Nikki to continue and kind of the family legacy is outstanding.
Yep, for sure.
All right, we'll take a break here at Grand Valley State University. We'll continue with our coverage of the West Michigan District First Robotics Competition. Back in a moment.
Kitchen appliances are some of the biggest energy users in your house. Today, we're throwing the common task of cooking an egg at 3 appliances you might not think of for this job, and we'll crown one of them the energy efficiency champion. First up, the humble rice cooker. Even though rice is in its name, it can be used to cook everything from pizza to ribs to cake. And with a small form factor, it uses less energy than a stovetop burner. Next, the slow cooker is the reigning set it and forget it champion that can handle just about anything you throw at it. Will the tortoise beat the hare in this energy efficiency cook-off? Speaking of the hare, the electric pressure cooker is a newcomer on the scene and has quickly become a must-have for those who need their food cooked quickly. But does speed come at the cost of efficiency? Which do you think will be most efficient? Vote with a comment below. For our experiment, we'll cook 1 dozen eggs in each device and show the real-time energy use at the bottom of the screen. Each device will have its own energy recipe, with the pressure cooker using the most energy for the shortest time, the rice cooker using less energy for a longer time, and the slow cooker using a low and slow method. Okay, looks like the eggs are finished. Let's cool them and take a look at the results. Coming in third place is the slow cooker. While it did draw the lowest amount of energy, the cook time was over 7 times longer than the rice cooker and 18 times longer than the pressure cooker, leading to higher overall energy use. Our second place finisher is the rice cooker. Its medium energy use with a medium cook time landed it a medium spot. Fast and efficient, first place goes to the electric pressure cooker. Its secret is insulation. While it draws twice the energy of the rice cooker, it retains heat so well that it's only using energy for 4 of the 8 minutes the eggs are cooking. Even though we crowned an energy efficiency champion, you should give one or all 3 methods a try and pick the one you like best.
A jacket that was taken from the Dan Kimura closet, I believe.
You should see my closet. Sequins everywhere. Can't even turn the light on and you're blinded.
Elton John would be jealous. I'm not sure about that, but okay. Anyway, okay, so you just told me that, things kind of pace-wise, things will slow down a little bit here. Why is that?
Yeah, so we had, between last match and the one that is almost set up and ready to go, we had a 15-minute break. And the idea is there are no more timeouts. We used to be able to call timeout if there was an issue with the robot, and you get an extra 6 minutes. You can't do that anymore. Basically, you just get the timeout. We just extended the amount of time, moved the awards in between. We saw a couple awards happening here. The idea is the overall event should be about the same length of time. It is a little rough for us observers because we have longer to wait in between these last few matches, but it's better for the teams because it means they have more time to fix their robot, get it prepared. It kind of guarantees that we are going to have a 3-on-3 match and not a robot that's still broken and out and being taken care of. So better competition, but we got to wait a little bit extra for it.
And here's what's coming as we move into match 13. So we are down to our final 4. And we have Paw Paw, Holland Christian, and Lowell Sr. for the Blue Alliance against Clarkston, South Haven, and Forest Hills.
Yep, so here are the questions. Alliance number 1, 27, had issues in the last match. Their scoring went way down. Is everything okay? Are they going to come back out firing? And did that rattle any of the drivers having those issues in the last match? On the other side of the bracket, our number 6 Alliance has been getting stronger over time. They started out a little slow, lost their first match, but they kind of found their rhythm, switched their strategy up a little bit, and the last match they played was 139 points in their win. That is more than the number 1 Alliance has scored yet. The number 1 Alliance has done 135, 133, 111. So that 139, if that number 6 Alliance shows up, we've got a match on our hands.
So again, we've seen a lot of points here at this competition all day, but now it's, it's a matter of who's going to make the fewer mistakes, whose strategy is maybe a little bit sharper than the other.
Yep. And this number 6 Alliance has been do or die for 3 matches in a row. They won 3 in a row that would have sent them home. This is going to be the first time our number 1 Alliance has dropped down to that lower bracket and is facing an elimination match. So again, is that going to get to any of these drivers? I don't think so. Again, I think both 27 and 3357, I think have already played 2 events. So those drivers have a lot of experience.
So away we go.
If we want to watch in auto mode here, 3357 second shot is good. 27 second shot is also good. 3357's third shot is good. Huge lead for Red right now.
Wow, what a great performance in Autonomous for the Red Alliance.
50 to 36. All 3 of their extra attempts were good there. So they're just way up.
See if they can keep up that pace. Blue Alliance has got to ramp it up to catch them. And we see the 107 robot, Team Robotics, trying to scoop a cone.
They got to get that cone oriented right, or they're going to be in trouble. At this point, just push it in low, and get out. Can't spend any more time trying to pick that game piece up.
Again, making these decisions on the fly when the adrenaline's going and the scoreboard is changing, that's the challenge.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Good decision there. A little bit slow here, but 107 does get that top cone, and that will finish their link up there. That's the other thing to keep in mind is they are down a lot on the board, but they've got some links left available to them.
And they're shrinking the gap just a little bit as time passes here.
Very fast drop off by 107 at the bottom. That's actually 2 links on the ground for the Blue Alliance, and that really has closed the gap. We'll see one more cone up top for Blue, and they can get another link there as well.
The Comets machine from the Forest Hills School District moving very speedily across the playing field.
Yep, 54-62, doing some defense there, slowing them down a little bit. And that, actually, you can see 54-62 has a cone on top of their robot. Fell out of their gripper. I don't think they can get that cone out of their robot, which means they can't pick up another game piece. They have to play defense.
Stuck there,
Penalty on 33-57, we can see on the side of the screen there. They got hit inside the blue zone. That should be a penalty for them. But Red is almost done with their middle row.
And it looks like the Red Alliance is going to position themselves to balance. Oh, wait a minute, the 27 robot Team Rush.
Yeah, they don't need that extra piece. They don't need that cone. They're gonna put it in their pocket and go for the triple.
Okay.
Good choice there.
And there it is.
In time. Okay.
Wow.
So
Great job on the charge stations by both teams.
Yeah. And it looks like it's just not enough game pieces on the grid for Blue. Just looking down, you can see a bunch up high on the red side. On the blue side, see a lot of empty spots. The ground is full, but the ground is not worth as much as the higher 2 levels.
So again, the idea is to start high, work low.
Yep, again, 5 points up high, 3 points in the middle, only 2 points on the ground. Now, you make up some of that, because if you can get 3 on the ground very quickly, you get the 5 link points for it. But over the course of that many points, it's not going to be enough. So here's that auto mode for Red. Look at this 33-57 coming back. That's their second piece they scored. 27 now coming in with their second piece. They score a second one, and 33-57 is back with a third piece just as time expires. So that was 3 more game pieces scored, 2 high, 1 middle in autonomous there. That's 16 extra points for the Red Alliance. And then 27 making the good decision when they come back. Look, you're up. Get the triple balance. Lock the win in. They do it. They kind of put that cone, put it back in their pocket, and get the triple.
So let's take a look at our scoreboard and figure out who's going to the finals. That's the Red Alliance.
Wow, and no penalties.
Yeah.
That 146 is their highest score of the tournament so far, which puts them right on par. What our number 2 alliance, who they're going to face in the finals, went 147-147. So 1 point difference on the top end there. Looks like just for our number 6 alliance, a good effort. 118 was actually a pretty decent score for them. Not as good as their 139 last time. They needed the stars to align. They needed to be able to pick up pieces a little bit quicker and sort of perform up to their peak level to keep this match close. And they didn't. They had a couple of missteps here and there, and that allowed our number 1 alliance, also thanks to that auto mode, to run away with it.
Downstairs we go to Kaylee with the winning team member from the Red Alliance.
Yeah, from Team Rush, I have Luke here with me. First of all, congratulations. What went right in that match?
So there was a lot that went right. After the last match where our forks unfortunately came down, we took a lot of time as an alliance to go over really what our goal is here. Outside of just winning, there's a lot of smaller goals we need to make. So we worked a lot with the pathing our robots are taking, getting rid of those congestion areas by the substation and the grid area. So it was really just a lot of communication there between our drive teams, figuring out what we could do better.
What do you want to take into the finals now? Obviously, you're going there. What's the goal, besides obviously winning?
Yeah, the finals are definitely tough. This is our 3rd event now. This is our 2nd time being in the finals for this season, so We're really excited to go in there. I think that a lot of it, again, is just going to be patience. We got to be speedy and fast, but if we're going over there and we're dropping cones, we're losing points there. So we're taking everything nice and slow, calm and consistent, but we're going speedy, fast, getting those cycles in still. So.
Great. Well, congratulations, Luke. Thank you so much. Dan and Dan?
Luke and Kaylee, thank you. On to the finals they go with the Red Alliance. We have seen a lot of good matches, and this Red Alliance here is definitely worthy of being in the finals.
Yeah, and this is that auto mode. One more time we're looking at it. I think this is the first time where they've hit all of their extra attempts here. And if they do that again in the finals, they're going to be playing from the lead, from ahead, and that always helps. 107, that was a super fast floor pickup for them, which is great. And they got over here and scored that cone pretty quickly. We can see a little bit of a problem, 27, waiting for a piece to drop there in the loading station. So they got a little bit more that they can work on. 33-57, just continuing to be consistent. And we'll see here the final balance for blue. They did get it, a little bit of a hiccup, but they did get it.
Let's get downstairs for the awards and turn it over to our PA announcer. Inspiration. The Team 92-48 wins the Rookie Inspiration Award. That's been handed out already. And 33-57, the Comets of Forest Hill School District win the Autonomous Award.
Creativity Award, sponsored by Rockwell Automation, celebrates creativity that enhances strategy of play and was intentionally designed and not discovered. Illuminating the competition with a rainbow tower, this team thinks outside the box. Pieces are placed with the assistance of red and yellow position indicators, lighting their way to success. Give it up for 2054!
The Tech Bikes.
The Quality Award celebrates machine robustness in concept and fabrication. Building the robot is only part of their success, and the judges recognize them as a quality example for others. It's been shown that a triangle is the strongest shape. With a professional design process producing a robust robot, there's no arguing that this team has a quality product. This team has red-hot scoring abilities that demonstrate their excellent overall design. Give it up for 4003!
Let's try Science from Allendale.
All right, that's it for the awards for the moment. Oh, we have one more? Nope, but I can grab it. All right, I was one short here. The Industrial Design Award, sponsored by General Motors, celebrates the team that demonstrates industrial design principles, striking a balance between form, function, and aesthetics. This team wowed us with their wildly sophisticated and compact design, including beautifully labeled cables. The robot's intake arm scooped up cones over cubes and delivered them with speedy and sleek grace. This team is dominating its matches with beeline scratches. Give it up for 6090!
That's the Whalen Wildcats.
Now we're done with awards temporarily until after the next round of play.
And let's swing it back downstairs and reconnect with Kaylee Marentet.
Hey everyone, here we are joined with Jacob Feek and Nancy. Jacob is a junior on Team 74 Chaos. Jacob, thanks so much for joining us. Yep. So Jacob is deaf and is on Team 74 with robotics. Jacob, tell me about some of the hurdles that you've had to overcome with being deaf and being on a robotics team.
I've really had no problems.
How has the team helped you and made you feel included?
Wait, could you say that again, please?
How has the team made you feel included? Do you feel like your team members and you have a good chemistry?
Yeah, we, as the team has really cooperated and helped me understand.
So why did you get involved in robotics in the first place?
Oh, I really enjoy learning things about building and robots. That's, I've really been involved with that, and that's why I like it. It's a real challenge.
Is this your first year?
Yes, it's my first time.
What have you thought about it so far?
I really enjoy it. It's been wonderful so far.
Is engineering something you want to get into, or what kind of career paths are you looking at?
I don't know. Engineering has been helped me. It might help me get a job.
I hope so. There's a lot of recruiters here. Is there anything in particular that you want to go after?
I'm not sure.
Keeping your options open?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you hoping to gain from robotics? What kind of skills are you hoping to learn?
Well, I've learned about helping intake. I learned the intake job. I did that the whole time, and I've helped build several things and wire and do the electrical work as well. I've helped pretty much everything.
How do you feel about the inclusiveness and openness and energy that First Robotics offers?
I'm not sure.
How do you feel about the energy with First Robotics and it being such a high energy place?
It's so exciting. And I've taught a lot. I've been taught a lot. I've been learned a lot, and I've taught a lot of people to sign for Chaos as well.
I love that. Yeah, I just learned that. What do you want to tell students who are also deaf and may be interested in robotics but just don't know how to go about it?
I'm not really understanding. Could you ask me that again?
What do you want to tell other students who are deaf and may be intimidated to get into robotics or don't know how to start? What advice would you give them?
I would say, it'll help you it will help you understand a lot of things, and it'll help you do a lot of things, and it'll really help you if you decide to join.
All right. All right, Jacob, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck to you today.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
All right, thank you guys so much. We're going to send it back to you guys.
You know, Dan, as we watched that interview play out, did you see the energy and the excitement really just in his eyes? I mean, you could see him, you could see kind of his body, Jacob, his body kind of energized, but it was his eyes just lit up when he was, kind of channeling what his enjoyment was in being part of this. And for all the kids that you have seen over the many years of this event, just to be able to see it opens up to so many kids, and no one ever has to feel like, well, there's no way I can kind of break through that barrier, and I can experience robotics and enjoy it just as much as anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we used to find on my team was, like, if we can get them to an event, if we can keep them strung along till they get to an event, our job is done. They're hooked. And it really didn't matter who it was. I mean, we had the prototypical people you would expect, the into math and science and stuff like that. But we would have athletes, we would have just random people that, like, oh, my friend is coming, so I came to check it out. And they would start hesitantly, but again, once we got them to the first event, it was done. They'd be back.
What a great story to have that, even just one person. And again, hopefully it's a sign of letting everyone know that, look, regardless of your, history, any condition, or any, whatever you think might be a challenge towards you being a full-blown participant in this event, don't even think twice about it. Just go.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
so we're coming up on the last match of the day, our championship match, our finals. Well, how about a scouting report of what we're going to see here?
Yep. So after all of this, it's still 1 versus 2.
Yeah.
But essentially
but it was not an easy path.
It was
necessarily,
not an
okay.
easy path. Yeah. No, we definitely had some drama. I mean, we can really see that run for the number 6 alliance.
Yeah.
After kind of going down to the lower bracket right away, making it all the way back until, that was the lower bracket semifinal. So they are our 3rd place team, alliance number 6. Alliance number 4 is going to be our 4th place team. Still have to figure out who's first and who's second between Alliance 1 and 2. One thing, before I talk a little bit more about the alliances, to keep in mind is the last time they played, Alliance 1 was in red, Alliance 2 was in blue. They will be switching colors now, so Alliance 2 will be in red, Alliance 1 will be in blue. Don't let that confuse you if you've been following along. Now, Alliance 1 has been consistent and improving, with the exception of the match where 27 had some issues. If they really figured out the root cause of that, and it seemed like just too many robots bunching up in the loading zone got something hooked and pulled their forks down early, then they're going to be looking strong. They put a 146 up in their last match. I think there were no penalty points helping them out with that score either. But on the other side of the alliance, number 2, 147 in their last 2 matches, and did win that upper bracket final against this alliance number 1. So it's going to be very close. I think that actually in this case, right, alliance number 1 is going to have to make some adjustments here. And they need to look at
what kind of adjustments?
So first of all, I don't think you can change anything about 33, 57, and 27. They're going to be running back and forth, doing their scoring. I think they need to look at placing 48, 55 in the right positions at the right time. One of the issues with defending this number 2 alliance is the 2 different Martian robots, 70 and 494, have done a good job of coming to the scoring zone coordinatedly and coming to the loading zone coordinatedly, not getting in each other's way and kind of splitting up. It's making it hard for a defensive robot to be in the right spot. But there were moments when they were either coming together and you have a chance to sort of mess up the field and block up a lot of space on them, or when they really got into that one is scoring, then the other is scoring, you have a chance to sort of be constantly playing defense on them as they're passing through that middle zone. That said, they are swerve drive robots, they're very fast, they're very maneuverable, and it's not going to be easy. But offensive output is very close between these two alliances, so the small little bits of defense can make a difference.
Do you think either alliance makes any significant change in strategy?
I think we'll look at basically the same thing. It's going to be a matchup of defensive robots versus the offensive ones. And then for our 4 high-scoring robots here, 33, 57, 27 on our number 1 alliance in blue, which number 1 has never been blue until this year, so forgive me if I have to take a second to think about that every time. And 70 and 494 on our number 2 alliance in red. It's going to be those small things, like do they hit in auto mode? How long does it take them to release once that cone is in position? And can they squeeze one more game piece out of it? And we'll also see if it goes according to plan for both sides, we're going to have a very close score going into the end game. So it will almost become a game of chicken. Can you make one more run before you go for that triple balance?
Who will wait until as late as possible to get on that charging station?
And of course, if you wait too long, that's it. That's the ball game. Or cube and cone game, I guess.
It's like a high wire that the wire just keeps getting higher.
Yep. And that's one of the hardest things as the coach to call. Like, they know their team, how fast their team can move and get in position, but coordinating with 3 robots at the end, right, is always kind of throws a wrench in the works there. You can't just rely on yourselves. So there would be games where, you would go and hang at the end, but nobody else was in your way. So it's just there's bar, you drive up, you hang.
Go.
Look, we practice enough times that I know my team from the far side of the field can be in position and hang in exactly 8 seconds if we do it right. So, whatever, if there's 10 seconds left, that's pushing it pretty close, time to go. But here, you've got to line up with your partners. If you have to shuffle over and make room for them, all of those things are hard to predict. So it's a little bit riskier to push late, but both alliances might be in a situation where they have to if they want the win.
Also, is there, and this is, kind of stepping out of this environment right here, but how much time would you ballpark that most teams spend during the week practicing?
It depends on the team. 27, I know, practices a lot. I think the Comets probably do. Again, another advantage they have is they've played at 2 events already. That's more practice. All of those matches are practice time for the drivers as well. So it varies based on the team and their access to field or field elements. There were years where my team had enough space to put up a whole field, and we would have anybody wanted could come over and use it, practice with us. We actually saw one year 27 came by fairly often. Most weekends they would come by and practice with us. I would always make our drivers practice a little bit every day.
All right, everybody is in their appropriate spots, and it is go time.
All right, so we're watching the blue side to see if 33, 57, and 27 score those extra game pieces. And 33, 57 hits.
And reminder, this is a best 2 of 3.
Best 2 of 3, yep. 27 hits, 33, 57. That one is good, but on the bottom.
Yeah, fumbles it. That's the Comets from Forest Hill School District. And off we go. Plenty of points in autonomy for both Red and Blue Alliance.
Yep, 8-point lead, but I think 70 had the extra cone in their gripper, so they dropped it off and narrowed that down pretty quickly. And now it's just a race. We see some defense on defense. 60, 94 doing a pretty good job of getting in the way, though that time got in the way of 70.
Boy, good defense there by the 494 robot, the Martians from Goodrich High School.
And that's that looking for contact as they cross the field here. 48-55, a little bit out of position for me. I like 60-94's position a little bit better, although 60-94 is adding to the offense a little bit here. They're staying out of the way, but they're bringing some cubes over and getting them low.
Boy, there is no hesitation about these machines going bumper to bumper.
Yep, big hit by 48-55, but 48-94 was past them already, so it didn't really slow them down too much. A little bit better here, forced them to go sideways. And we see 3 on offense here for Red. 60-94 is continuing to run these cubes, aiming for low or middle with them, and doing a pretty good job.
The Ramageddon robot for the Blue Alliance is just kind of camping out in the center area.
Yeah, they're looking to make hits, but they're missing a few too many of those.
Yeah, that does not look to be a 100% functioning machine.
And yeah, I don't know about this. Like, they are back looking to get on the ramp super early. So maybe they're worried about their drivetrain. Maybe the battery's low, and they were afraid of being able to get back in time. But that's way too early. You can't go with 50 seconds left. I mean, they're 30 seconds more of stuff they could have been doing. Defense, bringing some game pieces over, whatever it is. That said, it's very close.
And that machine, that Blue Alliance machine, the Ramageddon, hasn't moved.
Yeah, I think they're ready to go up in balance.
Okay.
They just got in position and
waiting
waited.
for the other two. And
we still got 10 seconds.
Got it. Wow.
So Blue
Red
is
Alliance,
up.
though, is not.
60-94, unable to drive up.
Oh, boy.
And I think we were tied going into endgame.
Boy.
So that missed climb there.
That is amazing that the 48-56-5 robot, Ramageddon from L.C. Moore High School in South Haven, became ineffective in the last third.
Yep.
But it may not cost them.
It's looking good right now for Alliance #1 in blue. Just that it looked like, I don't know, 60-94 has been so good going up the ramp, but it looked like maybe, again, either their battery was low or they were just slipping their wheels. They couldn't kind of creep up. And 494 and 70 had to go there at the last couple seconds to get the double, which was well done. We are under review, though. This match is very close. So you can see here, just trying to climb up 60-94 and just can't. It's just slipping. Those wheels are just slipping there. And on the other side instead, very early lined up. A little bit too far, almost a tip. But they're there and they balance it.
Wow.
So that was kind of counter to what I was saying. They actually went early, the Blue Alliance, to balance. They kind of saw the score was getting close, so they went early to balance. And because they did that, they had time for those mistakes and to still get their triple.
And the charge station points weren't the entire difference, but it gives them that cushion.
Yep, so we had 14 extra points there in the charge station. Would have been 136. The penalty plus that would have basically done it. Very close match. Highest score ever for the #1 Alliance in blue. So they're picking it up when it matters most.
Kaylee is downstairs with Ben from the Blue Alliance.
Yeah, Ben from 3357 on the Blue Alliance. We were talking about how you guys went up early on the charging station. Why do that?
So there's actually a lot of talk about this in the first community. Our view is that if things are guaranteed, sit there, relax. Waiting is okay. If you're confident that you have the win and you think you can just put it there, you do not want to move. We were really nervous about any little twitches to knock us off. Once we're there, you sit and you stay. It's okay to wait.
What do you want to bring into this next match?
Same thing we just did. Exactly the same thing. Nothing different. Consistency the entire way.
Changing nothing. All right.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Dan and Dan?
Thank you, Kaylee. And Ben. And more awards. Back downstairs on the field.
System or application of control components, electrical, mechanical, or software to provide unique machine function. This team uses their code to deliver the load. These students are out of this world if truth were told. With their amazing mechanization being controlled with outstanding automation, the judges were more than sold. Red Rover, more Martians come over. Way to go, Team 70!
4 Martians from Goodrich.
All right. The Excellence in Engineering Award celebrates the team that demonstrates a professional approach to the design process and whose design is elegant and advantageous on the field of play. This team engineered a solid picker-upper and a dropper-offer with awesome parts to keep it together. They really showed us the magic. Team 27!
Team Rush. Michigan High School.
The Team Sustainability Award celebrates and recognizes a team that has developed a sustainable program in order to define, manage, and achieve the team's ongoing objectives. In finding their way through the woes of COVID, this team rebuilt, sustained, and coded. Alumni guiding the sponsors growing, this bot drove the lot and kept on going. A lot more than just money or a robot. Congratulations to Team 141!
West Iowa.
During the course of the competition, the judging panel may decide that a team's unique effort, performance, or dynamics merit recognition, yet do not fit into any existing award categories. The judges are so excited to present the Judges Award to a team who exemplifies, this is an acronym, for safety, strong in their community, always helping kids, finding ways to stay fit. Everyone is trained to respond to crisis. Tons of student interest represented, and you are constantly finding the ways to respond to a wide variety of needs. Congratulations to Code Red Robotics, Team 5567!
Code Red, you're on.
Here they come.
All right, a lot of great recipients of some great awards, and let's reflect on this first match.
Red's auto mode was pretty standard. I think they've been very consistent at doing this. Unfortunately, the second cube that 70, or cone that 70 grabs here does not get scored in auto mode, which is actually only a 1-point difference. But here, we are midway through the match. Couple of quick scores, 33-57, that's what we were talking about. Like, how fast was that, right? Like, once they got there, it was in and it was good. And here is that triple.
Yeah, the charge station that really kind of, ooh.
That, very close,
Man.
very close.
They say baseball's a game of inches, but man. There we go. So we may have just one more match. Again, it's best 2 of 3. So still time for the drama to be extended. We'll see, though. First, though, let's get together with Kaylee Marentet.
Hey, we are here with John from EagleBots. John, tell me how excited you are to be here today.
Oh, really excited. It's so fresh, we had no idea what to expect. We're a brand new team. Nobody on our team's been to an event like this ever. And so we had no clue. We did see some videos ahead of time from past years, and obviously we were drawn into this program with some expectations, but really this has all been cool. We're one of 40 teams here in these events, and we're brand new. This is our first event, and we're nothing but a learning curve the whole way.
So you said you were drawn in. What are some of the things that did draw you in to try this?
Well, it wasn't. We were looking for some kind of program for our school, Berry County Christian School, as well as the homeschoolers that are involved in that institution. Looking for some kind of program like this. We have our younger ages are all involved in a bunch of Lego robotics leagues too. Also run through first, and this fit our needs. This is for the high school or middle school kids, and we saw that it was, and also First of Michigan did, offer some funding to get us started. They've done that for the rookie teams here. I think there's 3 rookie teams at this event, or one of them. And it looked like they were kind of hand-holding us through the whole way. And they did that through really giving us a design to build that we didn't have to think much about. We just kind of pattern whatever we built off of that. And didn't know anything about the process. And I've got some robotics in my background. I've done automated systems, and so know the value of all the technical training that you can get from having this kind of a project. And it's really lived up to everything I hoped for.
Can you tell us a little bit about the virtual robotics studio?
Yeah, what they did this year, there was a design that they provided. The team at first put together a design right after kickoff. Once they knew the game and they knew the rules and what the objectives were, the experts of that program put together that design for first-year teams like us to use, so we could have half a chance of getting ready for the events. And we just made that commitment to go after that design. And with that came not just a bunch of instruction sets in written form, but videos to present every step of the way of building it, the mechanical, the base unit, the upper structure, the arm, the gripper or the intake that they call it, and then working through it all the way to the point where we've got it all connected electrically, and then we start doing the programming to run it. And yeah, it was just enough time for us to get it done. We really didn't get a lot of test time after that, but we came to this event really without much test time, and I'm just really pleased with how well we're doing, really, actually, for a first-year team. But Dan and Jack, who did the videos, I mean, just take one step at a time. They're very clear, and it was
very helpful.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's a lot of time of watching videos, but
very helpful though. Tell me, you talked about how this has been a learning curve. What do you think of some of the biggest challenges of this being your first year?
Well, we didn't know much about each other on our team, and so we had to learn that whole dynamics. It's amazing how God has gifted every one of us in a special way, no matter how old they are. I mean, I found out that our youngest ones were strong in certain areas. You look at it, you go, oh, these kids can run the show by themselves, but they do need supervision. I mean, the last meeting we had, they were all bopping each other in heads with the pool noodles.
Oh.
So you had to bring it, you had to bring it back in, give them some focus.
That's some good bonding, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, teamwork was great, and just to see that, the challenge was just how do you fit where the roles are, who's the leader. Really our strongest leader is a guy named Tiago, and he's 12 years old, and
wow,
he can carry the
run
room.
the show.
He can carry the room. He runs the team. He's our primary driver, and
very good.
It's good. I got 2 sons on the team myself, so the challenge is you don't know anything. You don't know the milestones that you're trying to hit. You got a schedule to make. You got to get prepared for the events. You're missing parts. You got to order a few parts.
Mm-hmm.
And if we didn't have the Everbot design, we wouldn't have anywhere near enough time to get this done.
Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, it was challenging just to really figure out. I mean, I plan projects, but you want to plan, and you got to have a timeline. You got your objective, and you want to have some testing time, and we didn't have that. Any idea what to expect.
Big learning curve, like you said. But good luck to you.
Yeah,
thank you so much for joining us here and chatting with us.
Yeah.
And we are going to send it back to you.
All right.
Kaylee, thank you. And we are moving into what could be the last match of the day. But again, the championship is best 2 of 3. Adjustments that the Red Alliance would have to make would be?
You know what? That was their lowest score. And I think what we saw a little bit there was more congestion than we had seen from that alliance as yet. They had been so good at cycling in and out of the loading area and in and out of the scoring zone without getting in each other's way. But I saw at least 2 or 3 times that match where there was traffic jams or some of the scorers were waiting on people to clear out. So they need to go back, figure out what changed in their pathing or their timings that caused that. Because they dropped down. I mean, they were 137, 147, 147, and that last match was 122. And we talked about 48-55 weren't even playing defense for the last minute of that match. So it wasn't defense that brought that scoring down. It was their own execution. So they need to go back, make sure that they sort out that, whatever the traffic lines that they're going to use, the timings that they're going to use, and see if they can bring their score back up to where it should be.
Yeah, it's one thing when you're not as good as the team you're competing against, but when you know that your obstacles are inflicted, then that's tough, especially when the machine's been moving along real well until.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, really, these alliances are 1-1. Unfortunately, for the number 2 alliance, we do not reset the bracket. So in double elimination tournaments, right, sometimes if the winner of the lower bracket comes back up and wins the first best 2 out of 3, well, technically, the winner hasn't lost yet. They haven't dropped down to the lower bracket.
Right.
So sometimes you'll reset and they have to play another best of 3. We don't do that here. It is just one best 2 out of 3 to decide it all, which means, that last win is more important than the earlier win. The other thing, too, to watch is that Blue Alliance, our number 1 alliance in blue, hitting all of those auto modes in the last 2 matches. They weren't doing it in the first, I think, 3, but the last 2, they've been lights out with those extra scores in auto mode, and that's another thing that we have to watch out for. Sometimes it's harder to play from behind, so when you exit auto mode and it looks like the other team has that big advantage on you for those extra points scored, you still got to remain calm and say, hey, look, if we put up our 147 like we're capable of doing, that's enough to win these matches.
So there's the front runner, if you will, right there. The Goodrich Moore Martians. And the Moore Martians and Montague. And then Clarkston, Team Rush, Forest Hills, Comets, and South Haven Armageddon. Ramageddon, sorry.
Armageddon, yep.
Armageddon.
Until that, I think that is a ram in the
right.
logo there.
Yes. A little dyslexia now once in a while, right?
It happens. All right, so we'll see once again, key auto mode. If blue hits their auto mode, again, they're playing from in front. That's going to give them some more strategic choices here.
2 cubes land fairly for the Red Alliance, but the cone does not.
And a miss for 33-57 on their second cube. They've got the third one, though. So still pretty good. They didn't get the high score, but they still scored 2 extra game pieces, so they're going to have the advantage here.
Yeah, within striking distance for sure.
It looks like just a 4-point edge.
And Teleop is very important here. All the Red Alliance robots are pretty much in one area.
Yeah, good job by 6094, kind of bumping those extra cubes into the red safe zone, red scoring zone there. So the Blue Alliance will not be able to take care of that or take advantage of that.
And defense applied by the 6094 robot, Manic Mechanics.
And look, this is getting them out of the lines for the Martians. Look at that. Martians going right around them, not slowing down at all, but they're here, hopefully, to slow down the Comets.
Yeah,
and they're that good. Look, seconds.
Wow. Just a little delay might be enough to tip the scales.
If you do that every time, I mean, they're crossing the field 6-7 times a match. If you do that every time, it makes a difference.
That'll be points lost.
And we can see, too, that has made a difference. Red was up. Blue just completed a link, took the lead back. But, I mean, despite the edge in auto mode.
Yeah, this is back and forth, and both teams operating very efficiently right now, Dan.
For sure. We'll see another good hit. 27 kind of got through the defense there with kind of a stiff arm bulldoze move.
The Martians robot speeding out of the loading zone and placing a cube for more points. Boy, we are neck and neck.
Great spin move by 27 there to get around the defense.
Oh.
Got to be careful. Good blocks out. Good blocks out. Oh,
all three of them.
That is a ton. Everybody took a hit, and that's a huge delay.
A trifecta.
But 6094 was super smart. They got close to the blue line and got out.
Yeah.
Avoiding the penalty, of course. If they had gotten hit inside the blue line, it would be a penalty. Now, we'll see. Red is going for the triple balance now. They do have the lead. They can go slightly earlier. Blue, 27 aborted that last cone. So if they both hit the triple, it looks like it's going to be Reds, and they both hit it.
Man, oh man.
So we got to look. That last cone that 27 threw on the ground was not going to make much of a difference. It would have only been 2 points. There's nowhere they could have gone to complete a link, and only the bottom looks. Oh, wait. No, there was a spot on the near side, all the way on the blue, to finish their second row. They had a spot to place that cone, which would have given them 3 points for the middle row and 5 points for completing the link. Would have been an 8-point cone, and I think they might have needed it. So last match, we'll see too. There might be other things that we haven't accounted for, but last match, they went early, got the triple balance, making sure to ice the match when I was saying, hey, you might have to wait and score something late. This match, again, they didn't take the opportunity to score that last second cone. Instead, they went for the triple balance with plenty of time, but this time I think it might have cost them.
Well, we mentioned that scoring-wise, both of these teams have been operating at extremely high levels. And if both of these teams will probably land over 140 points. Here's the way things finished at the charging station.
So that cone, you can see 27 just throwing that cone down. They had a spot that would have completed a link for 8 points. Instead, it dropped on the ground. No extra points there. They do get the balance, of course, which is important. It's crucial. But Red able to do the balance on the other side. 6094 this time getting up into position high enough, and 70 doing the work there, kind of going over the edge to tip the thing down, to tip the ramp down or the charge station down.
There it is. We live for another match with the Red Alliance. Just enough. And it was the charge station points.
Yeah, and then that would have been in autonomous mode. That's what kept it a little bit closer in autonomous mode. But I got to point it out again. I know I've been saying this. That last second cone that 27 opted not to score and going for the balance instead, if they had scored that in the right location, would have been 8 points, would have put them at 151 to 148. Now, of course, had they gone for that, might not have had enough time to balance for the triple, but you know, you lose either way. So in this situation, they've got to kind of make that adjustment and score late and risk it.
Let's go downstairs to Kaylee with the Red Alliance winning team.
Hey guys, I'm here with RJ from the Red Alliance. RJ, what changed from the first match to this last one?
Well, we were able to score more consistently this match. Our cycles were on time, and our paths never really crossed too much. We were able to maneuver out the defense spot on the Blue Alliance a lot better this time.
What's it going to take for you to win this third match?
I think to keep up our consistent scoring and to just make sure we don't get in each other's way.
What would you want to tell your team right now heading into this?
I'm very proud of them and that they did an amazing job.
All right, thanks, RJ. Good luck to you. Dan and Dan?
All right, well, that was an exciting match. We're going to have one more, but let's rejoin the activity down on the main playing field and The award ceremony continues. This is the rookie all-star.
First Dean Swiss District Championship semifinalists are outstanding, passionate student leaders who demonstrate exemplary effectiveness at attaining first ideals. They were nominated by their teams for their direct contributions and impact on others, exemplifying leadership and commitment on the team and in their community. First Dean Swiss District Championship semifinalists recognized here today will move forward to compete at the District Championship. Today, we would like the following student to come down and be recognized. Congratulations to Caleb Burnberry of Team 4967. Congratulations, Caleb. The Engineering Inspiration Award celebrates outstanding success in advancing respect and appreciation for engineering within a team's school, organization, and community. Inspiring others to respect science and technology requires passion, knowledge, and commitment, and we recognize these qualities through this award. This team qualifies to compete for the Engineering Inspiration Award at the District Championship. This team spreads the love of engineering to all the members of its community, from library camp, innovation fairs, and programming camps. They continually build the brains of the next generation of engineers. Congratulations, 85!
It's Bob, built on brains, New Zealand. Good job, Bob.
Let's move to our highlight package of the Red Alliance win that forces a winner-take-all third match.
Yep, standard from Red. I think that cone usually lands on the second level, so that cost them 1 point, it falling down to the bottom. Good balance by 494, 70 with the extra cone for Teliop. Here we see a little bit of a hiccup. 3357 pushes the cube away instead of grabbing it. That said, they were still able to come back and score their third attempt, so they were still ahead after auto mode. Some good traffic there. Red really did a good job of controlling the traffic this match compared to the last match. They weren't in each other's way, but did a good job of getting in Blue's way. And it's little things like this that needs to get out a little bit quicker of the gripper. I mean, couple seconds there, couple more seconds not getting hit crossing the field. That last cone, they have time to score it. They win the match, they're champions.
Any delay of any kind, a little bump that throws your machine off, everything matters, especially now.
Yeah, and if they had gone up like that, I think they had time to score the cone and balance like that. But again, if you're rushing, you know, it's always hard to tell at the end of the match how it goes. And we've seen surprise points come out where we didn't expect it, where some points were scored late, or there was a penalty that was assessed late. So you can't necessarily 100% rely on the score there, but when we looked at the score, it did look like Blue needed one more score before going to the ramp. But now it's 1-1, so.
Winner take all.
And, you know, despite everything we're saying, I mean, that was 143 points in a losing effort, so was not exactly a bad offensive match by the #1 Alliance either.
We'll take a timeout here at Grand Valley State. We are coming back with the final match of the day as we have one more to go. Stay tuned. We're back with more in a moment from Allendale.
What does it take to create a more sustainable future of mobility? What does it take to build a future with 0 traffic fatalities and 0 emissions. Aptiv is uniquely positioned to answer those questions, situated at the intersection of the safe, green, and connected megatrends transforming the automotive industry. Sustainability is in our DNA. We are taking on some of society's toughest challenges with innovations that combat climate change, save lives, and improve the way the world moves. With both the brain and the nervous system of the vehicle, Aptiv solutions optimize electric vehicle architecture, making intelligent design trade-offs that reduce cost, weight, and mass, allowing for faster democratization of technologies that reduce CO2 emissions and reduce traffic accidents and fatalities. Aptiv not only leads the industry in high-voltage component innovations, from chargers and inlets to power converters and battery disconnect units, but also in process automation, miniaturization, and manufacturing excellence. Through Aptiv's smart vehicle architecture, we see the vehicle as a complete system, enabling an efficient and accelerated path to the electrified, software-defined vehicle. Sustainability is also in the way we operate. Aptiv is committed to having its operations in 44 countries, powered by 100% renewable energy by 2030, and becoming fully carbon neutral by 2040. With our full system solutions, innovative spirit, and unmatched global capabilities, Aptiv is the customer's partner of choice to bring the future of mobility to life.
The Red Alliance forcing a third and final winner-take-all match. And we will now head downstairs and reconnect with Kaylee Marentet.
Hey guys, we are here joined with Luke J from Team Rush. Luke, excited to have you here.
Yeah, so excited to be here.
So this is your third year returning. How do you think this year is sizing up to the last few years?
Yeah, so this year is definitely different. As far as the game goes, we've never had a game with cones, so different game objects. Really unique having 2 different game objects as well. So in the gameplay sense, the strategy is really interesting this year, trying to figure out with our alliance partners. There's a big open field, so plenty of times for our fast-moving robots, which is really exciting to watch.
Speaking of your robot, you guys have some unique features. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so one of the most unique features on our robot this year is a buddy climb mechanism. So we have 2 carbon fiber forks on the side of our robot, and what these allow us to do is at the end of a match, 2 of our partners can balance on the charge station. We can come in with 10 seconds left and not have to worry about offsetting their balance by dropping these forks onto the platform where they slide underneath another robot.
Wow.
And then we lift ourselves up off the ground using their own weight. So it's a really cool mechanism that allows us to score more points as we're able to stay on the field for longer.
Yeah, you guys are fast, too. I've heard you guys got some speed.
We're pretty speedy fast. We're averaging around 7 to 9 cycles per match in teleop, which is really, really good, and we're happy with that. Obviously, room to improve, but we've been doing really well this event.
Very cool. Tell me about how you guys decided to come up with this.
So at the kickoff, when we saw the charge station, it reminded us a lot of some of the other climbs from 2011 or, sorry, from 2018 or any of these other similar ones like 19 even, where buddy climbs were super cool, but there was problems with some of the rule requirements. So the way we figured it out is by looking at some other teams that had posted on Chief Delphi about similar requests. And by looking at the rules, we realized that, you know, we're not sticking to the charge station at all. So it was kind of just a little gray area that we found, and it's been working really well for us. We've done it in one of our qualification matches. Crowd went wild, so it was a great time.
Lots of energy here.
Yeah.
So you personally, you're a Dean's List semifinalist. Congratulations
Thank
for
you
that,
so
first
much.
of all. Tell us what that is for people who don't know.
So the Dean's List is an award given to 2 students on the team each year. It's made in part from Dean Kamen, as it's named after him, but the award recognizes 2 remarkable students that have gone really above and beyond. So I was nominated by my team, specifically by the mentors, which is a really high honor to have, and I'm so thankful for that. So it includes me going into a mock interview with some of the judges. I talk about my experiences both on the team and off the team, how I interact with my community and on my team, and really just, it's a little tell me about yourself. So it's a really great honor to have. I'm super glad to have it, and there's 10 of us competing at this event. 1 of us will move on to the state championship.
Wow. And then, so that mock interview, has that happened yet, or is it
Yep.
going to happen?
Yeah, I had that yesterday at 1:40 in the afternoon. So a little nerve-wracking going in there, but my mentors have been helping practice a lot with me, so I was really prepared for it, I think.
Awesome. Well, I want to hear a little bit about your team and the chemistry that you guys have had. Do you guys have a lot of people returning? I know this is your 3rd year.
Yeah.
You guys working well together?
Yeah, so we're Team 27, and the fun part is it's our 27th year this year. So it's a little special anniversary, but we have 32 students on our team this year. 12 of them are new, meaning 20 are returning. So with those 12 new students coming in, it's obviously a passing down of knowledge that we do. So our junior and senior students are in a leadership position. I'm actually one of the team captains from Team Rush. There are 2 others, as well as various sub-team captains, who work to organize the team, make sure there's efficient communication flowing between everyone. But it's a great opportunity for students to step up and take some leadership roles. So on our team also, we have 8 girls this year, meaning we have a quarter of girls on our team, which is awesome. We love having girls in STEM. So it's a really great team. We're like a family. Some of us are at the meetings, every other day, every day of the week sometimes. So we've grown really close. It's a great family to have.
Good. Well, it sounds like your team is also lucky to have you to pass that knowledge along to.
Thank you.
So, all right, Luke, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
All right, back to you guys.
Brought to you by Consumers Energy, Ford Motor, Aptiv, Magna, DTE Foundation, and this is for all the marbles.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen both of these teams have pretty much been operating at high levels all day. Not perfect, but this is, hey, this is the environment that these kids want to be in.
Yeah, we had back in the upper bracket finals, slight hiccup by our #1 alliance. First match here in the finals, probably slight hiccup by the #2 alliance. Last match, #2 won it, but I mean, 148 to 143. You can't really say anybody made, a big mistake. Just small bits of execution, 1 or 2 extra game pieces scored, the only difference there. So I would expect both of these alliances to come back out and do pretty much exactly what they did in the last match and just try to out-execute the other alliance.
1 win apiece, and that makes it a very simple scenario. As these, again, you get this, we're on the back half of the season, so obviously if these teams both have to be comfortable with where they've performed so far.
Yeah, and that's why, at this point, again, like third event for a lot of teams, second event for some of these teams here. They're comfortable. They've got their groove. We've played a minimum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches with their alliance. I think #2 has played 5 matches together. #1 alliance, I think, played 6 matches together. So they've had time to gel and figure things out. And at this point, you just got to go out and you've got to execute. I like the switch last match that we saw out of the #2 alliance, getting 60-94 into a slightly more defensive role, clearing the lanes out for both of the Martian robots to use and not get slowed down. But still, 5-point win, so. Guess that's the other thing, too. We saw how good the blue balance was. The red balance at the end, a little bit more suspect. We saw 60-94 not getting quite up in the first match. Last match they did it, but it doesn't look quite as smooth and as fast as the blue alliance's triple. So you could go into the end game deciding to score late and push it until, take advantage of your faster balance. You could also say, hey, if it's close, we'll get our balance and maybe they'll mess theirs up. I never really liked relying on the other alliance to make a mistake, though. So I would probably try to score the last couple pieces that we could score.
And that's the blue alliance. That's the
Comets robot.
Yeah, sorry, the Comets robot.
Yep. It's interesting, right? They had that long 15-minute timeout that's just about over. So I'm not sure if they were doing maintenance or if they caught something on the way to the field and tightened some stuff up. It looked like that was around that front motor. Maybe the motor mount was loose. Maybe the bracket that was holding it on was a little bit loose. So it does seem like they have that tightened on and they're on the field with plenty of time. Well, looks like they're going to put a battery in while they're on the field too. So yeah, that was not expected. I don't think there's going to be robot issues from that, just from the way the team is behaving and kind of where they were working on the robot. That said, sometimes it can rattle you a little bit when you think your robot's ready, but then you're sort of rushing to fix one last thing before you put it on the field. And changing the battery on the field, maybe you have a checklist that you go through before you bring the robot to the field, of which the battery changing is usually part of. So maybe they're off their rhythm here, off their normal routine. So we'll see how well the drivers can kind of block all of that out and get ready for the match.
Yeah, that's got to be unsettling when everything's right there on the launch pad, but then all of a sudden you got to stop and make some adjustment or correction.
Yeah, and you can see, I mean, the coach here of 3357 has been coaching them for a number of years, though, so I don't expect it to rattle him at all. And it's his job then to go back and be like, hey, look, it's fine, guys. Just get ready to drive. But we will see, right? We're going to watch extra carefully now in auto mode. They sort of set the robot up a little bit late after putting that battery in. So if they miss in auto mode, there's no guarantee that that wasn't maybe related to the late arrival to the field.
Does that change the mindset for the opponent when you know that there's maybe something amiss with the other team's machine?
I think you don't change anything, because if something's broken, it's going to give you the advantage. You're going to see that as the match plays out, and you can adjust to it. But if you go in hoping that something, or thinking that maybe something was wrong and the robot's not going to function correctly, and that gets into your head, if they come out blazing, that's sort of like, you don't want that mental hit, right? So expect them to come out at full force, make the adjustment if you see that the robot is not functional. But again, and based on what I've seen, I expect the robot to come out fully functional. We will have a slight delay. Battery went in late, so it takes a little while for the robot to boot up and get connected. It looks like they're just about set there.
And were they allowed a timeout to make that correction, or is that just part of the normal?
That was part of the normal 15 minutes. I think they were making an effort to get on the field when the 15 minutes ended, and so our referees are saying, hey, that's close enough. We're gonna obviously want to play the match with 3 robots on each side if we can help it. And then, yeah, now it's just a matter of like we got to make sure it's connected and functional before we start the match, which every team gets that, at our events. Every team gets that courtesy.
You saw him take a deep breath.
Yep.
Just kind of calm yourself and center yourself.
And that's where we're looking here, too. This is kind of the youngest, least experienced team on this alliance. So, yeah, there might be a little bit more nerves on that end than the other end. That said, drivers are new every year, so. Okay. Watch 3357.
Yeah, that's
okay,
the
miss on that first cube. That did happen last time. Let's see if they can still get this other one. No.
Wow.
So maybe an alignment issue at the beginning. I don't think the robot looks fine, but it might have been a slight alignment issue there. So that is a small advantage. No advantage. We are tied, 36 to 36.
But something to keep tabs on going forward.
So now we'll see good move again, 60-94, really fighting for those center cubes, stopping 27 from getting the easy points. And they did a great job. They're now all but one, I think, they got into their zone.
Yeah, good cone placement there by the
big hit.
More Martians robot. Yeah, these machines are not going to shy away from getting into each other's business.
Yep, that time I think the Martians lost the cone they were holding, so they might have initiated that hit, but they came out the worse.
Boy, one good hit.
Yep.
And these, again, some of these machines are top heavy.
Mm-hmm. It is dangerous every time. So let's see. Blue moving down to their second row. They need one more cone up high to finish their top row. Red just finished their top row.
Blue is leading, but boy, not by much. This is going back and forth. Ooh, and maybe a flag there with the 3357 Comets machine in
looked
that
like
loading
blue,
zone.
Right? They came over, and Comets have been doing that. They've been using that high line, that high path to get through, but they got it back there, pushing 60-94 in.
Boy, still a tight scoreboard here with under 50 seconds to go.
It's like 1 point. This is big, though. This is going to finish a link on top for blue, so that's going to jump them out to a healthy lead.
Yeah. 10 points right now, and they're adding to it. Blue Alliance starting to maybe get some separation here. Now it's decision time for the Red Alliance, as they're going to attack the charging station.
And right now, Red is down by too many points. They're down by, 16 points?
Yeah.
The only way they can win this is if Blue has a catastrophic failure on the balance, and they don't. So Red needed to go for a couple extra scores that time to try to give themselves a chance. They do get a balance. It is a scary-looking balance, but it is a balance. And Blue with their automatic balance here. And the lead. And you can see that what happened there. Blue, unless something weird happens, Blue's got this. But what we saw, and I don't know that this was done intentionally, but there were holes in the blue grid. And they left one cone spot up high empty. When you score that cone, you get 5 points for scoring it high and 5 points for completing the link. They had another spot on the middle road that was empty. So as we came down to the end of that match.
So they were banking whether or not, if we need those points, we'll go there instead.
It was almost a misdirection. I don't know if it was done this way, but if Red was calculating their end game based on the current score, then Blue came over, finished those 2 links instantly, and that's where we saw the score really jump up for the Blue Alliance, and that might have thrown off Red's plans for the end game.
Interesting. We're going to tally up the final points and see if things pan out for the Blue Alliance.
Look how good that balance was. So smooth. No wasted energy.
Well, they were tweaking the machine at the last minute. And there it is, officially 153 points. They go out like gangbusters with a win.
Yeah, and again, 135, not bad either, right?
Yeah.
10 penalty points helping them out a little bit. Got some of those penalties late. I mean, I guess it was just net 5 on the penalty points. But again, those late things, if we watched the grid as that match was happening, we saw Blue's grid filling faster than Red's, but it wasn't reflected on the scoreboard because Blue had a couple of holes in their lines. They came back, dropped those couple cones in, got those link points, and just rocketed ahead, right as it was almost too late for Red to respond.
And great sportsmanship, everybody shaking hands. We always love to see that. I've seen too many handshake lines in college basketball that have not gone very, pleasant. So great sportsmanship on display here at this West Michigan District event.
And that's something we love about First Robotics is, look, if your robot is broken, you can go to any team at the event. If they have the part you need, even if it's their only spare, they'll give it to you to get you back running. So off the field, everybody helps everybody, but on the field, we'll compete like crazy.
Lots of happy Blue Alliance team members. Let's connect with them and join Kaylee Marintet.
Yeah, I have some of those happy Blue Alliance numbers. How are you guys feeling right now?
Fantastic.
Amazing. Obviously, you guys had a very high scoring last match. Tell us about that.
It was amazing. We went out to the last match and we said we'd start from the outside, score our way in, so that we had time to place that last object, whatever it is, and then go up and climb, and it worked. It worked.
What do you want to tell the rest of your alliance right now after this victory?
I just want to thank them. That was a close win, very close. Our bull bar ended at the end, so we were super stressed out. Thanks to Kyle, she calmed us down, so it was really nice. I had to give her credit.
I saw you actually fall over during the celebrations. Yeah. I was like, I don't know what just happened, but you guys obviously lost the second one. What was your mentality going into that third and final match?
I mean, we won the first one, so why not the third one? Like, that was my mentality. I'm pretty sure that was the rest of my team's. We also weren't really thinking because we were just worried about our bull bar. That was basically our mentality.
What do you want to tell the rest of the team?
Congratulations, everyone. That was just a ton of fun. You know, some of the toughest win matches that we've ever had this season so far, and to come out on top is just that much more sweet.
All right, well, congratulations, guys. Very happy for you. All right, back to you guys.
Kaylee, thank you. Yeah, there was a little anxiety before they started, but boy, 153. That is a great way to end your Saturday afternoon.
Saved the best score for the last match.
Tremendous.
And that was, and Kyle Hughes, the coach of Team 27, has been doing this for years and years. I mean, I think 27's been around for 27 years, and she might have been there for all of them. So if you need a veteran calming hand on your alliance, you could not ask for somebody better.
Let's jump into our highlight package from this third match in the championship. And again, it was very close for a long time.
Yeah, this is that auto mode, 3357. You know, again, if it was, they were just rushed from that last minute repair, did not line up correctly, they got no bonus pieces. Actually kept it close at the start. But keep an eye on the blue grid as we kind of work our way through some of these highlights. Red is going to complete their top grid early. That's going to keep the match looking close. Blue here already moving down, but we can see one post on that top grid is empty. And they're just working on the second row already. And good thing they knew that that was the case, right? I don't know if that was intentional or if they just knew they would come back and get it later. But that empty spot when they came back later and grabbed it, as well as finishing a link on the middle row almost simultaneously, was just so many points so fast that it kind of threw all of the calculations out the window. So keep that in mind. As a coach, you can't just go by what's on the scoreboard banner. You've also got to be looking at the grid to see if links are about to finish.
Let's get some final thoughts downstairs from Kaylee.
Hey guys, we have some members from the Red Alliance here, Emma and Jay. You guys put up an amazing fight all the way to the end. I feel like your foot was on the gas. Tell me what you're thinking after coming out of this.
I had no clue we would make it this far. I'm just so glad that we did this together, since we're also sister teams, 70 and 494. We're in it together, and we're all Martians.
You're all Martians. What do you want to tell the team right now?
Well, I think that we're incredibly proud that, you know, the kids drove the wheels right off the things. I mean, fantastic driving, the whole team, you know, everything from scouting, the pit crew, everything. It was just hitting on all cylinders. It was a wonderful weekend.
What do you guys feel like what was one of your biggest strengths that led you through to the finals?
Being able to work with each other. Since we're sister teams, we know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we had very compatible autonomouses, and just being able to work with each other well and fantastically.
Well, and I would say that we have tough robots, right? They can take a beating and still come on back. So we didn't spend much time fixing things, so we're always there, ready to play at full strength.
All right, well, I think you guys did amazing, and congratulations on making it so far.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Kaylee. Great job. Good to get both perspectives. Again, you know, the way that third match, that championship match played out, there's nothing the Red Alliance has to hang their head over.
No, a very good showing from that entire alliance.
Tremendous. Well, a great afternoon of robotics here in Southwest Michigan. But we're not done. We're just warming up. We've got a few more weeks of this to go. Everything building towards that, you know, weekend at Saginaw Valley State coming up in a couple of weeks. So definitely the stakes get bigger and bigger. The venues get more crowded, a little more emotional, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll be back again, right, broadcasting at Troy next week. And then the week after that will be the state championship at Saginaw Valley State.
All right, we got a few more events happening down on the playing field with some more awards going out.
So this is the winning champion award.
And of course, their captain, the #1 seed of the day, it's 3357, it's the Comets! The First Impact Award is the most prestigious award at first. It honors the team that best represents a model for other teams to emulate and best embodies the purpose and goals of First. The First Impact Award is presented to the team judged to have the most significant, measurable impact of its partnerships among its participants and community over a sustained period, not just a single build season. The winner is able to demonstrate progress towards First's mission of transforming our culture. The recipient team will be invited to the district championship where it will compete for the First Impact Award against winners from other qualifying events and compete with the robots. Before a team can really shine, there are some things that need to happen. First, they have to inspire kids to love STEM. This team has charged up STEM interest locally using multiple power sources. Once interest is generated, they plug them into the First community. LEGO Leagues are an important branch of this First family, and this team has done a great job of connecting them to this circuit. This team brings the power of First together by opening their field to others, hosting large events, and charging up rookie teams in their inaugural season. There's no doubt that this team shines light on First and positively impacts everyone from the youngest kids to the most senior mentors and volunteers. Thank you for turning the lights on and creating a brighter future for First. For everyone here, congratulations, Team 107!
Every thought starts with a light bulb moment, an idea to make a difference. We are Team 107 from Holland Christian High School, and we've been having our bright ideas since our rookie year in 1997. In order to have a team, we need to be sustainable. So we started an FTC team, and based on our popularity, we had to start a second team, and we've since tripled our participation of students wanting to get involved with First. This has resulted in over 90% of FTC students joining Team 107. To make these programs possible, we've engaged our sponsors. They financially support the teams. We've even invited them to be mentors to help grow our relationships with them. Just like our sponsors have gotten involved, we've gotten involved. Team 107 students also decided to become mentors, judge FLL events, and volunteer anywhere and everywhere at FRC events. We didn't stop there. We put mentors and alumni on district planning committees as volunteer and event coordinators. They even volunteer as head referees and robot inspectors at events. We work with other teams to host an off-season event in the community to bring First to Holland. All this means we've gotten really good at setting up and taking down playing fields. Don't just be a resource on the field, but be one off the field. We set up a playing field at our build site for teams to practice during the season. We published resources on our website for teams to use, and even helped host a rookie build camp to get the next generation of teams involved with First. But don't just stop with First. Be a resource in the community. Sort and stock shelves at Community Action House. Even bring the FTC teams with you. Hand out groceries to families through Feeding America, and when you have some downtime, decorate over 500 lunch bags for Kids Food Basket. Don't stop there. Be sure to make First loud in the community. Trend on social media so everyone can see how much fun the team is having. Start a monthly newsletter that's sent out to the subscribers. And get on the news to show all of Michigan what your team is up to. Get louder. Go to Vacation Bible Schools to show off the robot to K-5 students. Bring the robot to the library and do STEAM arts and crafts with over 500 people. Send the robot on tour to your different sponsors to thank employees, and even put the robot on display on the Ford showroom floor. Be the loudest. Grab your First friends. Build a parade float for the local parade that averages 13,000 attendees. But not just any float. Build the biggest one in the whole parade. But always have fun. Drink some Capri Sun, bond over game night, and be more than just a team, be a family. And always be thankful. Be thankful for your mentors, the ones who help teach you the skills along the way, the ones who carpool you to and from events, and of course, the ones that feed you. And never stop sharing your bright ideas.
All the volunteers and great participants have been awarded and honored, so that's an excellent way to cap off what was a great afternoon of robotics competition here in Allendale. Let's get downstairs one more time and check in with Kaylee.
Hey guys, yeah, we're just wrapping up down here. My final thoughts from the day is that First never fails to give so much energy throughout the day, even during awards, and the sportsmanship here is just unimaginable. I mean, everyone's shaking hands, so happy for one another. You heard throughout the day that teams are always helping other teams. They want the best competition for everybody. So again, a lot of sportsmanship down here, great competition. You just saw in our finals, just a few points off from one another and so high scoring. So a very good and eventful day, and we're wrapping up with awards. So I'm going to send it back to you guys.
All right, Kaylee, thank you. Yeah, there's just not really enough time to honor all the people that do so many important things behind the scenes. But, Dan, in terms of what happened on the field today, again, some teams, very good teams, having to make some very important decisions in real time, very quick.
Yep.
A lot of ups and downs. What are some of your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think we're approaching the point in the season. We're late enough in the season to where the small stuff matters. First couple weeks, hey, if you're putting the cones on the poles, the cubes on the shelves, you're doing great. But now it's stuff like we saw from the number 2 alliance. Make sure your routes are clear. Make sure you're not getting in each other's way. And we saw the number 1 alliance coming back with that extra scores during autonomous mode making a big difference. And then, of course, make sure your end game is dialed in. So it's the little things that are making the difference now. And I think it's just going to get even more so as we come to the last couple weeks of the season here.
Yeah, there's more to come. We're revved up for bigger things in the next few weekends, so by all means, keep it here as we will continue to bring and make things bigger as we go forward here for the next final few weeks. Yeah, we got color, we got pageantry, we got robots that do all kinds of crazy things, and we had a great afternoon. Thanks to our outstanding production crew here at Grand Valley State University. And thanks to everyone for being part of our presentation of Michigan First Robotics. For Kaylee Marentet and Dan Kimura, I'm Dan Gutowski. We'll be in Troy, Michigan on the east side of the state next weekend, next Saturday. So by all means, join us for that on April 1st. We give you a great night and so long from Grand Valley State University.